Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 241 of the Noclip podcast. It's a Crewcast. It's actually a J Crewcast. It has never been more of a J Crewcast. I am flanked on all sides by J's. Jenna Stoeber, thank you so much for filling the Frank Howley-shaped hole in all of our lives.
I could never truly fill it, but I'm happy to be here.
He's gone to Japan, and you just came from Japan.
I did.
So our Japanese subs bench is in top working condition. You did a lot of blogging and Patreon posting about your trip in Japan. What was the best thing you did in Japan?
Oh God. I went to a lot of onsens. I went to an onsen town called Kinosaki, which is on like the northern edge of Japan. And it was absolutely blissful. I visited like 3 onsen in a day, which is not the way to do it, but wow. I did it.
Oh my Lord. Onsen being, I've only ever experienced them through the wonderful world of Tsushima. Onsen being, that's just like a hot tub, right?
It's specifically hot springs. Not all onsen have like hot springs from the earth, but Kinosaki, because it is an onsen town, they are all like naturally heated onsen water from the ground. And so they're all mineral, and every single one of them is supposed to have amazing healing properties, which is why I'll never get sick again.
Perfect. Jeremy Jane, where's the best place you've ever had a bath outside? I know you've got good answers
Great
to
question. This. Wow.
Oh, God.
Jeremy's a mountain man. He spent a lot of time in the wilderness.
I went to a hot springs in Eastern California, but I cannot remember the name of it. And I met a very strange man there. So, yeah.
Was it the only time in the Sierras? It wasn't Calistoga, or
no? It was like the Eastern Sierras, like in the desert.
Okay. I went to one in the Saline Valley that they used to. You can't get to it except off road. And it's back in the 70s, hippies used to like, or 60s, I guess, hippies used to, or rich hippies, so the 70s, used to fly like planes in there and then just get all salty in there.
I had probably the worst conversation to have at a hot springs, which was a guy in the hot springs was telling me about how there are sometimes flesh-eating, like brain-eating amoebas that live in the hot springs. And I was like, awesome. I really could have done without knowing that while I'm in the hot springs.
That's like, in survivability rate, it's actually really bad up here at the front of the plane. We should be at the back, you know?
Yeah, the pilot comes back and he's like, we're fucked. If you and I go down, we're all fucked. So just letting you know, have a nice flight.
Jesse Gracia, where's the best place you've ever had a bath?
In my own bathroom. I have no funny or interesting answers, unfortunately. I try to keep my clothes on outside.
You had a bath. You're an adult
man.
Let's take an old man. You're the youngest person here. You're an adult. When's the last time you had a bath? That's no judgment.
Like a week ago. I love taking baths. You
don't
bathe much?
Fan?
You're a bath boy?
Yeah, I'm a bath boy.
Do you bring your Steam Deck in the bath?
No, that's risky. Crazy. I would never do that.
But what if you had like a cool tray? And
I thought about getting a tray so I could have a little glass of wine while I experience some sort of visual novel, but I don't know. I feel like I'm going to splash one time out of excitement, and that's it. There goes 800 Canadian dollars.
Wow.
That's what you're worried about? I would be worried about, like, I don't know how much voltage it takes to kill you when you drop an electric device.
It can't be that much.
I don't think a Steam Deck would kill you, but I don't
you got to plug the toaster into the wall.
I think
the Steam Deck is like a little battery.
The Steam Deck would kill you before the electricity.
That's a good point.
If you hold it directly above your face,
if that
then you drown
down
in the bathtub.
Is that why it's called a Steam Deck? Is you can use it in the bathroom when you're getting
it was
or
actually,
the onsen?
It was designed for the onsen, actually. That's where
beautiful.
Well, I mean, Gabe Newell's got all those yachts. He's got to do something while he's out there.
When the last time Gabe Newell had a bath? He has a shower every time we fucking interview him because both times he just come from a dive. Yes, That's locked in the
so
Valve
unusual.
vault.
He makes you film it, but he's like, don't put this in the documentary, but I do want it filmed.
Exactly.
I
yeah. We
thought you
need
were
this.
saying that your interviews get so nasty he has to shower afterwards.
Shower. Yeah.
I feel filthy from that.
We ask him all those dirty questions about fucking what is he into now? AI used to be used to be swords, knives, and shit.
Are you holding an open knife?
I'm always
that down.
holding a
Danny,
knife.
put the
You
knife
gotta
down.
fucking. I lived in Oakland, man. You always gotta be prepared.
The hypervigilance is
I've
real.
got this Skater XL branded knife. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see it. It's I don't know why they sent these, but they did. They
As a
sent,
threat.
I was going to say the same thing.
the only skateboarders I know who had fucking pocket knives on them were up to no good. There's like, I guess you can use them for taking off grip tape, but like how often are we taping our boards that we need to have? I don't know. That's a weird one. My favorite place I ever had, nobody asked, but I'm just going to tell you anyway.
I want to know.
My
Yeah.
favorite place I ever had a bath when I was born. A
long time ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a while. It's been 39 years since I enjoyed a good bath. I only, look, my daughter's now 7, so we haven't done this in a while because we're entering the stage of this is not an appropriate thing to do anymore. But when she was a baby, oh my God, daddy-daughter bath time, the fucking best thing. We had like a good 3 or 4 years of just like, funny games and characters and all that sort of stuff. And daddy's a big guy. So when she grew up, it was, became, a little bit less water in the tub at a certain point. But my favorite, my most memorable probably was when I was born, my mom used to wash me. It was like, I was born in January. And so she used to wash me in a tub in front of our fireplace because we had like a coal fire. It's how we heated the house. That and we had radiators, obviously, but we had a
And
coal
it was the
fire in the front.
1800s, yeah.
Exactly.
I was gonna say,
Ireland
it's like a
Ireland
James
in the
Joyce
late
novel.
80s was like the rest of the world in the 1950s. But they used to call me, I guess the football was on, the American football, because it was late at night because I was like up. And so is it the refrigerator? Something Perry, his name is. He's like I think he was a Chicago Bears linebacker, I want to say. So they used to call me the refrigerator because I was just a big fat,
Baby
Baby.
in a bathtub in front of a fireplace.
Yeah.
That's
The refrigerator
really
baby.
endearing.
You know who's also endearing, Jenna?
Who?
Our Battle Pass holders, including the lovely people Love Preet, Yut, who I've been saying Ute this entire time, but apparently, according to Jeremy, who is our established Discord moderator for mispronounced names, mispronounced. Wow, I mispronounced.
Wow, how ironic.
Yeah, I know. It should be an Alanis Morissette song. Oh no, it wouldn't be then. It's Yut. Like butt. Is that what you said?
That
Like
is
butt?
what I'm led to believe by, yes.
All right. Love Priest. Yush. Dwayne the Rock Lobster. Anthony Thomas. Nico Passateri. It's a me, Ferrario. Senator Armstrong. Redredge. Harry Flanagan. Juice. Arno. Matt Pearson. James Brown. Mark Rojas. Copernicus. Quote. Tucker Morgan. David McGarry. Goddison. Sven Huster. Pez. John Akers. Ewint Nate. Tim Robinson, Forrest Brewitt, Jonathan Kremen, Eric Hamilton Schneider, Christoph Vitui, Cameron Ladd, Zachary Stater, Alex Goucher, George Sikotis, Jacob Godserve, Enthia Jen, James Med, Tohir Tiliev, and Ryson. Thank you all so much for supporting us at the Battle Pass tier, you absolute heroes. And thank you to all of our patrons over patreon.com/noclip for supporting the nonsense we do on the main channel and the second channel, which you should check out, even though we haven't really announced it yet. Have we? I don't know. Videos keep going up on it. Let's not talk about it. Let's talk about the video games that we have played this week. Actually, no, Jenna, sorry. You just came back from Japan. You got it. I feel like we're all Japanophiles here. Jeremy is definitely we just call it an otaku. I don't know. Jesse, you've never been, right? You always want to,
Nope.
you want to go to Japan sometime?
I'd love to go to Japan.
Gotta get out
yeah,
there.
beautiful country. I love the idea of it and the culture and the all the media. I'd love to come back with a bunch of great OVAs that I can't get a hold of here. That'd be awesome.
It's a good time. Jenna, what are some of the highlights you had? How long were you there?
I was there for a month. I was there for a whole
Wow.
month.
A real trip.
Yeah, it was a time. I spent 2 weeks bunking down in a hostel in Kyoto doing some video work, visiting the Nintendo Museum twice, visiting the Ghibli Park, which just recently opened, and making content about that, or preparing to make content about that when I got back, which is where I'm at now. So that was great. I also, let me grab this. that I keep on my computer.
Oh, here we go. What is
I
it?
climbed Mount Fuji. So this
Oh my
is-
God.
Cool.
Yeah.
They give you a coin?
You have to purchase it. The top of Mount Fuji, because everything has been destroyed by capitalism, has it was upside down.
Wow.
Has a gift shop. It also has a post office and a shrine. But you can buy this. You can only buy this at the top. But it
It
probably
has a post office?
yeah, it has a post office. You can send letters and stuff.
Are there people who live up there full time, or is it just?
Good question. I don't totally know. There were dirt tracks to suggest that vehicles can certain kind of like off-road vehicles can potentially drive up. That they have to do that for like construction and stuff. So it's possible that people got shipped up. But I have to assume at least the priests at the shrine probably bunk overnight. But it's they only sell these coins at the top. It says top of Mount Fuji on the back. There is a machine where you could have it inscribed with a special message. We'll see if this goes through.
Come on, autofocus. You can do it.
It has the height,
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go.
and it says big challenges, no problem.
I thought it was in
Wow.
Japanese because it was blurry and
Yeah,
upside
it's
down.
like-
I was like, it's in Japanese for sure.
That would have been really funny. No, so I did that. I can't recommend it. It sucked. Don't do it.
Climbing Mount
What, the
Fuji.
walk?
Summiting Mount Fuji
Yeah.
sucked.
No.
Climbing it partway, I think, would be fine, although still very stressful. But I cannot recommend summiting it. So that was great. I went to the
Even with the coin and the view.
even with the coin. Well, first of all, the view was nothing. Because I don't know if you know about Mount Fuji, but it is famously a very foggy mountain. It's so foggy that the train station exiting the town that we stayed in to do the climb had a plaque up that said, hey, if you came to Fujinomiya and you weren't able to see Mount Fuji, come here and we'll get you a certificate signed by the mayor saying that you were too charming and attractive and you made Mount Fuji shy. And so it hid its
my
face.
God.
I have to go get that. That's amazing.
Japan, man.
good.
Japan has it covered. This is crazy.
It's so charming. No, we climbed up partway the first day, and then we stayed overnight at a mountain hut, which is a thing you can do.
Oh, wow.
And mountains around the world. We did this last year for the Alps, actually. So we climbed up partway, and we stayed overnight in a mountain hut. And that was a great experience, except for the fact that a very popular thing to do on Mount Fuji right now is something called sunset hike. And it's mostly done by some Japanese tourists, but also just done by a lot of like tourists from other Asian countries. And what it is they will go and stay at a mountain hut and try to get to sleep at like 4 p.m. because they want to climb to the top of Mount Fuji in time for the sunrise. And so the mountain hut we were stayed at was at the eighth gradient, basically, which means it was one of the closest to the top of the mountain. It was about a 2-hour hike from there. Sunrise was at 4:45 a.m. So these people were waking up at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to climb up in the dark with a headlamp. A volcanic rock, because Mount Fuji is a volcano, it's not a mountain, on this volcano rock to get to the top. We weren't doing that. We went to bed at a normal time to wake up at a normal time to climb Mount Fuji. But it didn't matter because we had to wake up. We got like 1 to 2 hours of sleep. And climbing a mountain on that kind of sleep is not ideal.
So you couldn't get back. You couldn't get back to sleep after.
No, but because it started at 1 a.m. and there were so many
so it took
people.
them forever.
There were so many people doing it. There was like 50 people in this little mountain hut doing the climb. So it was like once the noise started, it did not stop.
Man, oh man, Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
Comes with a. You get a good coin, but is it worth it?
No, it wasn't. Don't do it.
That's-
it sucked. It also just the climb itself was just not very pleasant. So.
I have Ghibli museum questions. How do they? I've seen pictures of the park. How do they like? Are there like exhibits for like the sad Ghibli movies? Like, is there like a
Grave of the Fireflies.
is there like a Grave of the Fireflies ride?
Yeah.
Or like I don't know. Or like Only Yesterday. Is there like a real like melancholy exhibit of some sort?
So there's the museum in the park. I've been to the museum in past trips, but I went to the park this time. And that is a great question. That was one of the questions I was most interested about because Only Yesterday is my favorite.
Oh,
it's
really?
My favorite.
I
yeah.
rewatched it last night. That's very
wow.
Really? What'd you think?
Yeah. I loved it. I haven't seen it since I watched it when I was like, I don't know. I got super into Ghibli movies when I was very young, and then maybe when I was like a teenager or something, watched basically all of them. And there were a few that I kind of like didn't appreciate as much, but still like enjoyed and appreciated. It was like, that's cool, but didn't like truly click with.
Hit.
Yeah, it didn't hit. And then I feel like revisiting a few of them. Only Yesterday is one. I'm trying to remember what the other one is. What's the one where they sing Country Roads like 700 times?
Whisper of the Heart.
Whisper of the Heart. That was another one that like kind of didn't hit for me as a teenager. And then I feel like after watching every movie that Yasujiro Ozu has ever made and then going back to them, I'm like, okay, I get it now. Like I understand what this is drawing on culturally. And also like I'm in my 30s and have life experience. When you're like 16, you're like, this is why do they want to go to the countryside? The city rules, man. Like I just feel like you don't have the life experience to click with this like very meditative experience. And Takahata's films especially are so like emotionally logic driven. They're almost like the other side of the David Lynch coin or something, where it's like David Lynch is like the horror side of emotional logic, and Isao Takahata is the like life is worth living side of it or something.
Yeah, it's that meme of the person facing the wall and the person facing the sun on a shuttle.
Yeah, and it's David Lynch and Isao Takahata on the same bus. Yes, exactly.
The question you ask is a good one, because I was super curious if there was going to be any Only Yesterday stuff, because it's my favorite film. And generally, I am more drawn to Takahata's work because I think it has a more interesting emotional core, and it's more like slice of life, and it's usually set in like modern Japan rather than some sort of faux European setting. As is the case with the Miyazaki films. And here's what I'll say is there wasn't a lot. There wasn't, as you might expect, a lot of Grave of the Firefly photo standees or anything, because how grim. But there was like this warehouse where you could go and take photos with a bunch of stuff. And it was just like, oh, here's a scene from, I don't know. Yeah, here's a scene from Whisper of the Heart. Here's a scene from Ponyo that you can stand on. And it's like, oh, it's like you're sitting on a train with no face. And there was one for Only Yesterday. And I asked somebody to take my picture as I was standing in there. And this young woman, her, I think mother or grandmother, was like, what is this from? What is this thing from? And I was like, it's from Only Yesterday. It's one of the less popular Ghibli movies. And the mother was like, oh, I've never even heard of it. Wow, you must be a real nerd.
Wow.
Brutal.
She probably meant it as a compliment.
It was spicy, but it was also like, you're here too, ladies. So
Were they American?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So there was like some merch for some of there was another standee for the Bamboo Princess. What's the name of that
Kaguya,
one?
Princess Kaguya.
Yes, there was a standee for that, and there was like some pieces of merch for it, but obviously not a lot, and very, very few references or acknowledgements of Grave of the Firefly. There was mostly like art books for it, like you would expect.
Yeah, I feel like people don't want to think about Grave of the Fireflies while they're at like a theme park. No,
I've never seen it. Is it like a World War II
watch it,
rep
man.
thing or
It's really
something?
You should watch it exactly
Okay.
one time in your life.
Yeah,
Okay.
Is how
it's important to watch.
It's
It
so
is
sad.
important to watch, but it will destroy you.
Harrowing.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
I've
harrowing.
Have a
seen
good
this
day.
picture. I know the picture on the front. Yeah. Okay.
It is one of the best movies I've ever seen, but it is not like I don't think you can really recommend it to someone. You know what I mean?
It's like the zone of interest. Like if someone said, "Hey, the zone of interest is really good.
Right.
Should I check? Or I hear it's good. Should I check it out?" I'd be like, I mean, no, but you shouldn't do that to yourself. But you should watch it. Yeah, it's in that same kind of camp of just do it once and never do it again ever.
Yeah, I've got 10 days in Mariupol for that one,
Oh, man.
probably.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and maybe Hereditary.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
That
could
one's
do
a
that a
little more
second
fun.
time.
that is
It
a little
is-
bit more fun than those.
It's I think maybe now I could go back and watch
Yeah.
it again. But it was such a I need this movie to end. I need to get out
Probably
of
the
here
worst time for you to
experience.
watch that too if you watched it around
Yeah.
release.
I'm like, I didn't know anything about it. My daughter was young, and it was just a bit like, oh fuck, man, I don't know.
Some movies
do
have
that.
a timer that after
Yeah.
you've watched
Yeah.
it, after that it's had that decay for like a couple of years, you can revisit it. The decay for Grave of the Fireflies is like 80 years. It's like no human is going to be able to
80 billion
cycle
year
through.
half-life.
Right? Is it?
You
Go
should
on,
do
yeah.
what they did when the movie was released. They, if I recall correctly, they did double features at showings where they would show I think the order was Grave of the Fireflies and then Totoro
Oh.
as like a palate cleanser because
Yeah.
everyone would be like, oh my God, I want to kill myself. They'd be like, well, hold on a minute though. That's not all bad. We got Totoro.
What if the boss was a cat? And
What
you're
if
like,
a
"Wow,
universe
everything's better."
what if a firebombing occurred into the same universe as Totoro? Then that universe wouldn't be all bad, would it?
Here's the wasabi. Now here's the ginger. You know.
Yeah. Well, palate cleanser.
Oh my lord! Do you guys have any games that follow this? Because I have a few, like ones that I was like, oh, you know what? In like 5 or 10 years, I'm gonna chew on that one again. And one I've just remembered, I've probably hit the timer on is Return of the Obra Dinn. I was like, oh, I want to play that again, but like I know what happens. So like, and I kind of remember what happens in the end, the twist, but like the actual puzzles themselves, I'm like, no, I could do all that again.
I feel like anything that's really exploration driven. I'll talk about this later on the podcast in more depth, but I've been playing Super Metroid, and I was thinking, I wonder if it's been long enough to start replaying. Like I've only played Hollow Knight once when it came out. I wonder how. I don't think I have that map memorized, and I feel like the experience of discovering things is what it's all about. So you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
If you want to play Hollow Knight again, there's a sequel coming out soon. I hear it's
Any
shadow
moment
dropping
now.
on Thursday.
Any moment
All right,
now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Why
I
don't I
hear it's
double feed it?
already out in Canada.
You guys just don't have the URL.
They
That's your
only have
problem.
it at EB Games. You got to go. to
What's
the
going
gotta
on?
go to Canada.
There's a stream going up in Gamescom is on at the moment. None of us are there, obviously. There's a stream going live at our time in 48 hours, so it'll have been published by the time this is live. Jason Schreier's out there saying that it won't be a release date reveal. He tweeted somewhere. So what is this? Is it just a trailer for it then, or?
I think it'll probably be like, the first big trailer drop. They're having the game showcased at some art museum or something in Australia.
Oh, dude, I'm going to Australia in October.
I think it might line up. That'd be really funny.
Yeah,
That's
I gotta do
incredible.
that then.
But regardless, they are going to have people playing it, the newest version of it. So eventually, Microsoft was very confident. This is the second time they've done this now. I think 2 years ago, they said it was going to be in the summer, it was going to launch, because all the games we're showing right now will be day one on Xbox Game Pass in the next 12 months. That was one of them. Haha, just kidding. And then this year they announced they have their new handheld, the ROG Ally Xbox crossover thing. And they're like, and it'll be launching day one with the ROG Ally Xbox thing. Silksong will be playable. And then right after, someone from the team or someone who does the PR was like, no, that's I don't know who the hell said that. Where Sarah Bond got that one from. That was not us. So
Really funny.
who knows? Maybe this will just be another trailer and 10 years from now we can play Silksong.
I hope it
Lord.
never comes out.
I
hope so,
feel
too.
like I every time someone mentions it, I hope it gets delayed. It's
Half
like
of me wants it out,
okay,
so we don't have
here's-
to deal with it anymore.
agreed.
That's it.
Agreed. Here's the thing though, is like I loved Hollow Knight too, and I get it. Like I understand if that game was pivotal for you, and you're like, holy shit, like indie games are amazing, and like I get if it was this amazing game. I just feel like there's so many other games that I just don't even think about Silksong. Like I just play other games, and then one day it will exist, and I'll be like, oh, delightful. I'm so glad.
I think,
that,
sorry, I interrupted you.
no, that's the whole thought.
Yeah, I think they have, in a way, this is sort of like Derek Hughes' problem he had on Spelunky 2, and he found an elegant way around it. Because I think what happened here is that, and I'm with you, I love Hollow Knight. I was a bit late to Hollow Knight, but for a lot of people, it was their first, roguelite, basically. It was sort of like an early one of these. It has a great look to it. Has it does a lot of interesting things, the characters and the exploration and stuff, and it's got a lot going for it. But I do feel that that genre went into turbo drive right after that game came out, and I love to talk to them about it. I wonder if it's just that they've been trying to react to this subgenre, which is just constantly evolved every single 6 months since this thing came out, and it's like a moving target or something. Because I do worry that a sequel to Hollow Knight that plays very much like Hollow Knight might end up being, a couple of weeks ago we talked about games that there are sometimes those sequels that come out that are just so like the first game, and you think you wanted that, but then the sequel is so like it that you're like, oh, I guess I didn't want more of that. And I forget what game we were talking about this on the podcast about a month ago, but I was chatting to Hugo Martin about it at QuakeCon. We had a quick chat about, the 3 games and how he feels about them. And I was bringing this point up to him, and he said this was the fear that we had, was if we did Doom 2016 and then we do Doom 2018 or 19, and it's so similar to that. If we don't take this big push with Eternal and go in a different direction, like, sure, there might be a bunch of people who don't like the original, the sequel, because they want something more like Doom 2016. But the bigger fear is that you just bore everyone, and like, you don't do anything new. You don't even satisfy a different audience in a different way, and then you kill the whole thing, because then you're like, oh well, nobody wants to play these games anymore. So I wonder if that's like, I'm totally just making this up in my head, but I do wonder if they're in a bit of a sticky situation, because that game was so like sort of simple. In a lot of ways,
relatively speaking, for sure.
Clean in its execution.
Yeah.
I think
elegant.
what you're describing is like always the issue for games with long development times. I remember when like Concord dropped, that was part of the discussion of it arriving years too late to capture the audience that it thought it had at the beginning of its development. And like Hollow Knight was like 2017, right?
Was it? Yeah.
I think so. So it's been 8 years. There was a global pandemic in between. It's just
There
like,
was?
not in Canada, but for the rest of us. It's just like 8 years. Yeah. Tastes have moved on. Genres have moved on. And I am curious to see when it drops. And this is the other thing, is like, how will it ever live up to the hype?
Yeah, that's a problem, right? Expectation now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, it reminds me a lot of like when a musician gets really popular and they have their first album that's like the breakthrough album, especially if it's maybe like actually their first proper album and people are like, wow, we love this person now. Then it's like the difficult second album problem where it's, how do you make all these new fans happy? And I feel like it's like, I don't know, Hollow Knight is like, this isn't like JPEG Mafia. This is like fucking Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? Like it's so popular. I see more. It's probably the indie game that I see mentioned the most, number one, bar none. It's hard for me to think of what is even in the same league.
Dude, every showcase, doesn't matter how big the showcase is, doesn't matter if it's being run by some YouTuber that no one's ever heard of before. If they're like, we're doing an indie showcase, they're like, well, Silksong gonna be there? Like that. It's funny. It's like a vicious cycle of Silksong not being out yet leads people to watch showcases and learn about games that they maybe wouldn't have heard of if it wasn't for the fact that maybe Silksong will be there. So it's like, once that game comes out, are people still going to watch all these indie showcases? What's there to wait for?
It also might just be like the Skate 3 thing of we've just memified this game for the sake of the comments. You know what I mean? We're
100%.
having a bit of fun with it. I wonder if the like solution to this is, am I right in thinking that Toby Fox didn't actually like say that he was working on Deltarune? It just kind of came out.
I think so. I remember it being
that
kind of a
sounds right.
surprise. Yeah.
Yeah, so
definitely
maybe
shadow
that's
dropped.
like, if he's like following up Undertale, right? Like Undertale 2, like I could imagine that having the same like expectation, but just dropping the game is actually, I mean, I think if you're making a somewhat low budget game and your previous game sold loads, maybe that's something that the Hollow Knight folks didn't have the I don't know what Team Cherry's publishing deal was on that first one, but maybe that's a way around this problem, is maybe they just simply announced it too early, and maybe they needed to because they were trying to get publishers on board and they were trying to get eyeballs on it. I don't know, but maybe that's the solution, is just not talking about it until it's ready to come out. I mean, a lot of studios do that with games that have that expectation. It happened with Fallout 4, happened with Fallout 76. Yeah, there's I can see there being an argument for it in certain cases.
The only other thought I have about Hollow Knight is that having played a bunch of like older Metroidvanias recently, it is interesting how Hollow Knight is very sort of, it's not doing something that's like crazy radically new for Metroidvanias. It's doing a lot of things that are pretty familiar, but in a different arrangement, and very elegantly with an amazing art style. And like, I don't know, I mean, it reminds me a lot of Metroid and Mega Man X. And like, I don't play it and I'm like, wow, this is like a radically new vision for Metroidvanias. It's just very well put together and at the right time and all these things. And then I think it must be very difficult to then go as a team, what is like, how do we innovate on this thing that is sort of familiar in many ways and not alienate all the people who like this.
Like familiar by design. Almost.
Yeah, exactly. How do you make like an innovative familiar thing is like a fucking Zen koan.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. It might be an impossible thing to meld. Well, you know more than us, dear listener. Sorry, Jenna, go ahead.
I was flashing back to when Hollow Knight came out. And this feels like it might be part of the equation that we haven't touched on, which is that I remember sort of it being promoted. I don't know if this was by the studio or publisher or by fans of it as being a Souls-like. And it was like one of the early games that got promoted as being a Souls-like. If Silksong came out and they were like, it's a Souls-like, into the trash, into the toilet, flush it away. Don't want it. Oversaturated. No, thank you. So I am curious to the extent if they're like, well, this thing that was an innovative way to promote the game 8 years ago is now the most obnoxious way to promote a game in 2025.
True. Yeah, that's true. I wonder if, it's going to be fascinating to see. We've seen so little is the thing. It's like there's nothing even to like. We're asking these questions because the vacuum that has been created where this thing is, people have nothing to latch onto. So in a couple of days, they should have something to latch onto. If they shadow drop it, that'd be incredible. But if they've a trailer or something, it'll answer some of these questions, dear listener, and hopefully, some of these pontifications will be put to rest. We could talk about it next week. We are going to talk about some games that came out in the past couple of weeks, though. Mostly in the past week, a lot of them. Jesse, can we start with you? I feel like Herdling is maybe the one that I've known about the most or seen it on shows and stuff like that. You guys had to remind me what it was in our meeting this week, but then I was like, oh yeah, of course this one. So it's not out for. It'll be out by the time the podcast is. You got early code of it. What is Herdling? Like, describe it visually as well as gameplay, I guess, because it has a very unique look.
Sure, yeah. Herdling is the latest game from Okomotive, the team that made the Lone Sails and Far Shore.
Changing Tides?
Is that the DLC? There's a couple of, overlapping names on that. I can't remember exactly. But, yeah, they made the Far series, critically acclaimed, and it's being published by Panic.
Sorry, those are like the sort of very painterly, like, what would you say, like 2D?
Yeah.
Almost like a classic Prince of Persia style, well, just like 2D perspective, but you're like controlling a big boat.
Yeah, you're controlling the Okomotive, I think is what it's called. Is the vehicle in the game, which is what their studio is named after. I think anyway, I might be wrong on that. But yeah, you control a big vehicle trying to go along on a big adventure. I think the second one was 3D, right? You did an interview with the developers on that one. So that was a little bit different, but their thing has been making vibe-focused games about big, interesting worlds with environmental storytelling being the focus. And Herdling is another one of those. It's quite short, though. It's very short, actually, I would say. It's like 3 hours long. I think it took me 3.5. They said 4 to 6. Sorry, I'm an epic gamer. I'm just too good. But the idea and setup for Herdling is you are playing as a character. There are no words, so they don't say the name in the game, but I think V or Vi is the character's name based on what I read.
It's V from Cyberpunk. Cool.
Yeah, right, exactly, yes. Also, Vi from League of Legends. Who's to say? Maybe they're both. But you play as this character. You wake up in a tunnel. It looks like they're unhoused, sleeping in a tunnel somewhere in a small city. And upon waking up, you find a bunch of calicorn. These are the creatures that you are herding in Herdling. They're based on like Bulgarian style, like outfits that are put on certain animals, like yaks and all that sort of stuff. So it looks like just big, weird, crazy yak fantasy creatures. They're adorable. And your goal, which is sort of like not explicitly stated, again, there's no worded narrative, there's no narrative really presented to you explicitly. It's all told through inference. But you are compelled to herd up a collection of these calicorn and take them to somewhere. The world is set up in this way where it's like a third-person adventure game, so you control the character, and then you have the herd of creatures in front of you, and you are the shepherd for these creatures. And the way that you move them, this is like the hardest and weirdest part of the game. It's like probably the thing that will take people the longest to get used to is the way that you maneuver them. So it works a bit like, I guess Pikmin maybe is the closest comparison. All of the little units, not like you control them. It's not like combat. They're doing their own thing. But the calicorn, when you control them, you are like it's so hard to explain. It's like there's a piece of string starting from the character to the end of the cursor, which you control by moving the character relative to the collection or the herd of the calicorn.
So is it like sort of the cursor is magnetized to both the herd and the main character? Like it's
Basically,
sort of floating
yeah.
between the two and you're pushing closer and further from them?
I think your distance has no impact on how fast they go. It's sort of like there's a ability you have where you can make them go faster. But basically what you're doing is solving very light puzzles and maneuvering the crowd or herd, perhaps, of these calicorn through different environments. And the environments are gorgeous. This game is like one of the best looking games of this year. I think the painterly look is fantastic. The skies have this big, bright, beautiful blue to them. And then sometimes you get a sunset and the lighting is great. All of the textures have this beautiful sort of like dirt to them in certain spots, but like everything just feels so alive. The soundscape, I think, is probably the most effective thing in the whole game, because when you're walking around and controlling the herd through the forest, getting from point to point, you can hear the sounds of creatures. There's not like an overabundance of music. It sort of relies on foley a lot, and it does a really good job with that. And then there are these moments, and I think that's the best part of the game, which is usually in contrast to what I think is the worst part of the game. So I'll focus on the best part first. When you go out through these sort of like tighter areas, like sometimes you go through a forest or a bit of like city and forest come into contact. Maybe there's like a concrete road or something, or an asphalt road they had to get across. Once you get out of this tighter area, you get into these big, wide open fields, and you and the calicorn herd just run through, and it's beautiful. There's like a bunch of bassoon players, and the way that it comes in just like fills your heart with joy and warmth. It's like someone's hugging you and lifting you through the sky as you maneuver these creatures. You can run through with them, and it just feels great. The views are fantastic. The colors are good. The lighting is like everything comes together there. And then again, and this is where I think that there's so little done here to make it work. There's these puzzles that you do between scenarios, and they're just not very interesting. Like they're very straightforward, simple puzzles in environments that are great, that look good. Like the way that you interact with the herd outside of moving them is sometimes there will be an interactable, and you walk up to it and you press the button on the interactable, and then one of them comes over and does something for you. And that's just not interesting. Like it's just a very simple, straightforward puzzle. Like if you've played any like Play Dead game, like Inside, then you've done these kind of puzzles before. It's like push a gate, land a thing on the thing. It's just not interesting. But when it's doing the other stuff where you're running through and you're enjoying the environments, I think that is really, really compelling. And like, it's oddly just fun moving them around. And then the calicorn themselves are very, very cute. And not just in that sort of like, I want to pet them kind of way. They have
Jesse really wants us to know how cute the kettlecorn are.
I'm loving hearing about it.
The kettlecorn is so cute. I think it's the best part of the game, and I wish they spent more time focusing on the relationship that the character has with those, as opposed to making me do sort of like very basic puzzles. Because there's enough there that they could have just built on it, and I would have had fun doing that for 3 hours. So sometimes between locations, there are these fire pits that you can set up and sort of sleep at, and you get a dream, and it gives you the next sort of thing you have to go do. But before you go to bed, all of the calicorn hang around the fire pit with you, and they will interact with each other and the world. And like sometimes when you're moving through the environment, the calicorn can get hurt. And when they get hurt, they have like this blood on them, but like it's, you feed them and then the blood goes away. So like, is it blood? But if they have blood on them, or if they've like collected sticks or whatever, they're dirty, they won't sit with the rest of the calicorn. And the first time that happened, my heart broke, because like everyone was sitting there, and the one big one that just bumped into something because he's just big and it's bound to happen was sitting off to the side, like licking himself. And I was like, oh my God.
Poor little kettlecorn. You probably taste delicious though.
Oh, I bet. If you cut them up and like fry them on a big pit,
you
like
do
that would
that
be, absolutely.
Is
Salt and pepper.
that what you're hurting them? Is that what the end of the game is?
You just take them into a slaughterhouse.
At the end?
Yes. Yeah.
Do
that's
they
gaming.
make cute little sounds?
Yeah.
They make adorable little sounds.
Do they?
They're
Such an
so
important question. I cannot believe we skipped over that until
Yeah.
the
Well,
Yeah.
you touched on the
are they-
Foley, but it's so important to know if the cute little things are going to make cute little sounds when I heard them.
Yeah. And there are threats in the world as well, so they are a little bit scared. There are things you need to be somewhat concerned about, but it has this like this beat to it. This one moment, again, it's very short. I'm not going to say what it is, but it does stuff with the story that I feel like a lot of games that do this sort of thing of telling a story about like environments and creatures and like the way that they interact with each other. Like there is a villain, and the villain is the other animal trying to survive. But here it's like the survival of that other creature, as gruesome and perhaps villainous as it may be perceived.
Right.
They're just trying to survive.
Circle of life, man.
Exactly. But it's not like secret of nimming it. Like, oh man, all the owls are mean. Like, it's actually, I think, handled really well.
So did you enjoy it? Like just wrapping up on it, like 3 hours. Do you know how much? Do you know what the price is on it? I know you got
it's going to launch at 25, but I think there's a 20% discount, so it's going to go down to 20. Let me pull up the email here.
How does that feel?
Yeah,
do you think?
Feels okay. I think, it's weird because the length of it, I think, is going to come down to how much difficulty you have maneuvering, which for a lot of people will be.
If you're not a pro calicorn gamer like Jesse.
Of course, I've been practicing my herding skills. I was in the Netherlands, so I know how to herd those goats. But if you're having a hard time with that,
you're gonna one up me on goat herding.
you want to have a goat down? I'll throw down with
grab
the goats.
one right now.
All right.
And we'll see which one of you is the herding goat.
Oh,
the goat.
Oh, nice. That's good. That's good. Sounds like we got a Patreon exclusive video for the future, Jesse.
We're going to source
watch
sheep.
that.
No, it's part
that
of it.
would be really good.
No.
I
don't have sheep. I haven't got goats. I'm sorry.
Important distinction.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Sheep are good at eating grass. My goats, fucking useless at eating grass. You could say they're especially bad at it. I'd probably be better at eating grass than these fucking losers. Anyway, sorry. I'm not here to shit talk my goats. Herdlings, you said it's $30, but it's going to have a little launch sale on it when it goes
25.
up.
It's going to launch at 20.
Sorry. My bad. Yeah. 25.
It's a good short time. Go into it focusing, I think, as much as you can on enjoying your time with the little creatures, interacting with them. And also, weird point, make sure you kill one.
Jesus. All right.
Just trust me.
Okay.
That you are asking so much.
Can you
got to do it on purpose.
Can you save scum the killing of the calicorn? Can you?
Nope.
You cannot save scum it.
Maybe I didn't try, but
because
you got to.
Even when I save scum and kill something, like in Paper Mario, there was like a little guy who's like,
bad about it.
"Kill me," and I was like, "I'll save, and then I'll do it, and then I'll see what it is, and then I'll undo it." But
but you just created a new multiverse. That guy,
that's true. But I don't have to live in that alternate universe. You know what I mean? Like there's a me with blood on his hand. I don't know. It's kind of. Have you guys seen what is it? Primer by Shane Gill?
Oh my god, that's a movie. That's a movie I need to rewatch.
That movie is I don't even think it's like that entertaining of a movie, but God, is it like maybe the best time travel movie ever made.
It's that. What are the other two movies you always got me to watch? The ones that are like fake sequels to each other.
Oh, Resolution, and what's the other one? I know what you're talking about.
Because they're similar. It's similar. Two indie guys made a movie.
Yeah,
the movie, and they're both sci-fi. I forget. Anyway, it's good stuff. Yeah, sorry. Do a little Google on that. I'm gonna do a quick little sort of side shuffle because I feel like Sword of the Sea might be in a similar boat. To thank you, Jenna. Boat. There you go. God, we're just killing it today. Did you find it, Jeremy?
The Endless.
There we go. Might be in a similar boat to Herdling. So I've only played like 40 minutes of this. It went live this morning. The reviews seem to be very strong, so that's great. This is the latest game from Giant Squid, who are the folks who made Abzu and The Pathless. So yes, this game looks gorgeous. I played it at SGF. I think I talked it up a bunch after we did that podcast after Summer Games Fest last year. The super reductive version of what this game is that it is snowboarding Journey. I think that is very apt, though. It's a game that really looks like Journey, like a really good looking version of Journey. It must be somewhat inspired by it. But the actual, I mean, the one of the people who worked on this did work on Journey, so I should mention that. But the actual gameplay of it is essentially you're kind of like what was Heart Machine's second game?
Oh man, Solar Ash.
Solar Ash.
It's kind of like Solar Ash. Like Solar Ash was a game about like sort of skating over the world and doing, in big open environments with lots of sand. Similarly, this is a game where your character is essentially it is a sword actually, which is pretty cool, but they're snowboarding, they're sort of like hoverboarding on their sword over these deserts, but the sand is undulating like a sea, like it has waves. So it's this very weird beautiful symphony of color and light as it's bouncing across these sand dunes. And then you're interacting with the world, and the main thing that happens, at least at the start, is that you are essentially sort of spreading the sea back to these places. So you're going to a place, you're hitting a little chime, and it is turning a bunch of that sand into the most glorious looking deep water with fish in it and everything. It looks incredible. The thing that I've sort of stumbled into after getting through the sort of opening tutorial stuff is that the game does seem, and I don't know if this is the case, so I really should read a review or something, but it has the vibe of like a Metroidvania, like that there are areas that I can see I can't get to yet, and it's like somewhat open, and I'm like, oh, I bet I can get over there, but I can't. I don't have like a jump that's big enough or a whatever it is to get there. So I've been enjoying exploring. Like, it's really rewarded. The thing that I'm always chiming on about week after week is I just love a game where I can just go explore and get lost and find weird stuff and collect all the things. And for sure, it's already doing that. So it looks fantastic. It's on PlayStation Plus if you have PlayStation Plus. It's also on Steam. I booted it up on Steam, and I'm like torn what I should do, because I got it on Steam and then I was like, oh shit, it's on PS Plus. I should refund it, but it has widescreen support and it looks insane on my editing monitor, because it's just like it looks as good as it looks, and then there's an extra 30% of it either side. So I'm like not sure what to do. It's $30, so it's, we're used to playing all these incredible indie games week after week now these days for like 10 or 15 or 20. So, it's silly to me that it made me sort of go, oh yeah, $30. I have to pay $30 for a video game this week. But at least I don't know how long it is, but at least I have the opening of the game. I was like, this is brilliant. I love how this feels. I love how this looks. I love the feeling of snowboarding. I like the mini games and stuff they have in it. They straight up have like there's one area near the start where they're like, yeah, if you get like 8,000 points, we'll give you some coins. And it's just like, this journey ass looking moment where you're just like doing flips and shit, trying to get like a Tony Hawk high score.
I was going to say, wait, there's a point system like Tony Hawk, actually?
Yeah, so only in this one area. There was like an area where it was like, oh, here's a beautiful old looking, what do you call those, sand clocks?
Sundial?
Sundial. No, you turn them over.
No.
Oh, like
hourglass?
Hourglass, thank you.
Sand clock.
Sand clock.
That was accurate.
I like that so much better.
So accurate.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We didn't get sand clocks in Ireland, so we don't know enough sand. Where you literally went up to one of these, did a chime on it, and it was like, yeah, try and get 8,000. And I mean, it plays kind of like a Tony Hawk. It was like a half pipe. Like I was in like a half pipe going up one side, holding L1 and going like square, triangle, circle to do like grabs on it.
Did like Superman by Goldfinger start playing in that
Unfortunately,
version of the game?
it did not. No,
You have to collect the words,
was not
the letters for sword, and then
exactly, perfect, exactly. Sand, yeah. Sword. Yeah, it's yeah. So I it seems like it has a bit of variety in it. But again, it has that feeling, I think, probably like Herdling, Jesse, where it's fairly linear, but then it did open up. So I don't know.
Okay.
It's one of those frustrating previews where I've played an hour of this game and I have more questions than answers. But
it doesn't sound too dissimilar to the Pathless. Like the way that game starts was pretty linear and small tutorial island. And then you go out and you're like, I could get up there if I had enough feathers.
Exactly. Yeah. So it just looks gorgeous. It really, really, really looks amazing. And the music is sweet, and the flow, like the feeling of like sort of hoverboarding over this stuff is really tremendous. It feels just great. So yeah, very interested to play more of Sword of the Sea. If you've got PSN, go check it out for free. Well, not for free, but you know what I mean. $30 on Steam, and I'm assuming, actually, I don't know if it's on Xbox, because I think the PSN deal was something, I saw an article recently about how that was a sort of a must to finish development on the game. So I'm not quite sure. No, PS5 and Windows for the moment. And Austin Wintory did the music. There you go.
That's all I needed to know.
More sense.
I have one question about it, because you mentioned that you're riding a sword. Is there combat? Do you get the impression there's combat?
I have not come across any. I've never seen any in the trailers, so I don't think so.
All right.
But who knows?
Just curious, because you're riding a sword. It kind of implies, I guess it's the opposite of the sword of Damocles, because it is not over your head. You are riding it, but it still kind of implies that there's combat. I
Why
don't know.
would it be a sword?
I'm thinking about it. You had a skate themed switchblade at the beginning of this, so maybe these just don't mean the things that I think they mean anymore. You know?
no.
Not just at the
Put it
beginning,
down.
Jenna. All the time.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All right, Jenna. We're gonna force you to talk about video games now. Tell us about Off. Do you want to talk about Off first of all?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily a new game.
No, this is a kind of a re-release. I think it has some updates. I never played the original, so I don't have a good sense of what, if anything, has changed. But this is it's Off. Is a game that originally came out, I think, in like late 2000s is the word I'm thinking.
Okay.
Of. Like 2008, maybe.
Yep,
Okay.
you got it.
And it's a kind of, I'm going to use a word that I don't normally mean to be kind of a negative, but which I'm kind of employ is kind of negative here, and it is quirky.
Yes, I do it. It's so quirky.
It's so quirky, and I like the quirkiness. Let me frame this also in the sense that I don't play a lot of turn-based RPGs. It's just as a game mechanic, I find it kind of monotonous. And I've played some games. What was the Sea of Stars? That was fun because it had kind of a reflex mechanic built into the turn-based RPGs, but that is where I would say I am struggling most with Off right now, is that you fight the same enemies and you're like, well, I've pretty much got a sense of what the optimum way of getting this battle over with as fast as possible is. So I've been mostly doing that. It's fine. I'm about halfway through. I think I'm going to try to push through the ending, but not because I'm enjoying myself or the game.
Brutal.
Just buyer's remorse, or
No, this is something I have to describe to people who do not engage with media for a living. But it's like sometimes you play a game or watch a movie or show, not because it's good and you're enjoying yourself, but because it has some sort of relevance or some sort of interest as like an artifact. And this game is really interesting because it is the gap, it is the missing link between Mother/Earthbound and Undertale. It's like playing this is like, I see. But I also, I never beat Undertale. I bought it for the Switch for my flight to Japan because I was like, I'm going to be locked in a chamber for 14 hours. I'm going to play 14 hours of Undertale. I played about 20 minutes and I was like, God, I hate this. It's so tedious. And it is similar, capital Q, quirky.
Right.
But at least Off is shorter. So I'm going to try to push through to the end.
So it feels like it's not your genre then in particular?
It's definitely not my genre. It's also just like, it's meta about video games in a way that I think was probably very novel and fun in 2008.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But which is now just sort of like, oh yeah, you know you're video game characters and you know you're in a video game. It's like, yeah.
It's a bit like you can't do the would you kindly bit from BioShock right now. You couldn't do that today. Who cares? Oh yeah, wow, congrats.
Yeah.
Narrative dissonance. Yeah, put that in the game. Wow, you're so smart.
Yeah.
Jeremy, did you ever play this back in the day?
No, I have not. It's been recommended to me by people over the years, but I've never got into it. Jenna, do you like? Have you ever? You said you don't like turn-based, but have you played any of Earthbound, and do you find it as sort of like detestable as?
Please, for the love of God,
I like
Earthbound.
Undertale, and I understand. I totally get it. It's like cilantro as a metaphor I've deployed many times, where it's like it either tastes like soap to you or delicious Mexican food.
Yeah. I haven't played enough of Earthbound to commit one way or the other because I don't like turn-based RPGs. So I've sort of
Very fair. I also feel like that style of turn-based is like Earthbound is kind of the only one of those that I can get into. It's very hard for me to play like old Dragon Quest where you don't even see your characters. It's just the like two-dimensional plane with an enemy on it. I don't know. It's particularly like unengaging to me or something.
Yeah.
Off has a crazy art style to it as well.
Yeah.
I'm liking the screenshots. Do you know what work was done into re-releasing this? Does anyone have?
I think it tweaked some of the balance of the game. I think maybe there was some updated art assets, but I think not much. Basically, has been changed.
Was it on Steam before? Is this just like it's because it's not an update. It just came out. It's a new Steam app. It's actually published by Fangamer and co-developed. So I don't know.
I'm reading through it. Yeah, they developed the remaster as well.
Okay.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that Off was the first game Fangamer published.
Oh.
I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty certain.
You mean like this new version of it or the original?
The original.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty certain.
Okay.
Don't take my word for that, but I'm pretty certain that was the first game that they published. So it's sort of interesting for them to loop back to it, having had success publishing other games.
I don't know what games Fangamer have published. I was looking at this going like, have Fangamer published games before? This is crazy.
It's a good question.
I don't know. Their Steam page seems to suggest that they
this
only
is
have
the
this
only
one,
one.
I think. Is it? If they go to top sellers, I don't know. Fangamer, they make. That's where all the Hades. That's where Developing Hell available now. Is that Fangamer? I think it's Fangamer.
It's Fangamer, right?
I hope it's Fangamer. You sent so many emails, Danny.
It's not fandom. It's not fandom. It's Developing
Certainly
Hell
not.
available now on Fangamer. Let's talk about from I don't know how to fucking make this. I don't know how to make this connection, man. This is
You could do it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
From turn-based to Coinbase.
Jesse played this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. From Coinbase. But Coinbase makes it sound like it's crypto.
I mean, it might as well be.
Could be an arcade.
Okay.
That's Coinbase.
Yeah, it is.
There you go. There you
It's a
go.
coin-based economy.
So, RACCOIN. So, tell me. So, okay. So,
All right.
this is a game
Sure it is.
that. This is a game that is basically like my wife and daughter's favorite thing to waste money in the not waste money. I don't want to be too derogatory, but waste. If we're saying we're wasting all the money we go to the arcade with, this is the most wasty thing you could do, probably.
Yes. If you've ever been to Dave & Buster's or any, chain arcade, any arcade period, probably, there are those games that if you have any sense, you probably don't put coins into that are
Any
obviously.
sense. I get
any
it.
sense. You're welcome. We're doing so many puns on this episode. Where it's just a machine full of coins.
Yeah.
And a large block that pushes the coins closer to the edge. And your goal as the player is to put the coin in the machine and make the coins fall down so you can get tickets. What if you made that a video game? That sounds
Less cool.
way less cool.
Sounds
Not
bad.
fun.
Well, you're not putting coins in it, right? It's not
You're
like
not.
you're right. It's like playing solitaire, right?
Yes. But what if there were magical things that also helped you do it better, like jokers that were maybe alive or maybe not?
Is this just Balatro? Are you talking about Balatro? What are you talking
Jenna,
about?
you settle down now, you silly goose. Why are you bringing up? Anyway, so this is RACCOIN, coin pushing,
Balatro.
coin pusher roguelike, published by PlayStack, the publishers of Balatro.
Oh, yeah.
The evidence is piling up.
There's a theme here. It's the gambling games and then abiotic factor for some reason. This is it's those games from Dave & Buster's. It's a coin pusher. But the difference here is there are mechanics in place that allow you to rig the game in your favor, perhaps.
Cool.
So the coins that are in the machine have a set number of points, and then you get tickets once they fall through off of the thing. Sometimes you'll get a bonus coin that gives you extra tickets, and the more I describe this game, the more tired I am talking about it. But like basically the tutorial was like nonsense. This is the playtest, so it's a very, very early version of the game. They can make changes. I don't want to criticize the design of it because I'm sure there are things that will change over time. So I'll just describe it. You do all that, you do the coin pushing, and then at the end of each round, there are 10 rounds per level, you go to a shop and you can buy special coins, and the special coins do certain things. Some of them will, like, if two coins of the same type touch, they'll duplicate, and there's a bunch of other coins. It's just like how, they make babies. And then it's like, some of them are like, there's a star coin. If it hits a coin, it does this. And so there's all these little fun effects that augment your ability to hit the score threshold that you need to go to the next round. There's also jokers. I can't remember what they call them. It's like this other little keychain thing or something. Yes.
Oh, that should have been it.
They're actually Batmans in this one. They're not jokers. And they give them, like special abilities. Like now your score multiplier is higher, or after you hit a certain number of coins into the machine, you get to push the machine a little bit and make the coins fall out. That's funny. The main way, by the way, that you
turn off.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we turn off the cheating. I didn't mention it, by the way. The way you put the coins into the machine in the game is not just like there's a slot and they randomly go somewhere. You do have some degree of control over how the coins enter the machine. So there's two little coin inserts on the side. Yeah, a bit like, that's a good comparison. There's two coin inserts on both sides. Left click or right click or Q or E on your keyboard will put them into the machine. You can actually, it's all physics based, I think anyway, unless they're cheating. And when the coins connect, if you press them at the same time, they actually stop in the middle of their flight and will land where you want them to be. So there is like a bit of skill in where you want to place it. And then it's just waiting for it to hit the right thing with the physics system and then give you what you want. And the funny thing about it is it's really easy. I mean, it's just the easy difficulty version of it. So, I mean, it has to be, I assume, but I just felt like I just was crushing it every single time. And it's not even because I have the Balatro brain disease. I think it was just very easy and like, fun in the way that dopamine is fun. Yes, right? And this was the playtest, yeah.
So is it easy to read? I played the game, is it Ballionaire it was called? This was the Pachinko roguelike one that came out last year. And I enjoyed it, but I found it difficult to read what was going on sometimes because there was just so much chaos. Like there was so many pegs. Yeah. Each peg had its own, you could basically load up the pegboard with these variables that would, bounce it a different way or create multiple balls and by the end of a thing, it was just too difficult to read, like what exactly was going on. It was hard to set up shots, things like that. This seems like it might have a similar problem because there's just so many coins and they're all physicsy on top of each other. Is that a thing? Like is it hard to strategize because you kind of you're not quite sure what's in there because there's just so much going on?
It's actually the perfect comparison point because unlike Balatro, which is sort of the progenitor of these, you have very little control over what you're doing in both Ballionaire and in this one. So in RACCOIN, when things get off the rails, it never stops. Like it's not quite like Ballionaire where it's like there's so much visual noise you can't see what's going on, but there's a degree of like, you pressed the button 30 seconds ago and you're kind of just waiting for stuff to finish. Like, when you're in an arcade and or if you're at a casino, if you want to make the direct comparison, and like the right thing happens, all of the machine decides you've put enough money into it. And it's like, here you go. Here's 25 seconds of the most annoying noises you've ever heard.
Of juice.
Yeah. Would you like some dopamine?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it does. There's this spin wheel that happens if you hit a certain number of coins over the edge. You build like it looks like the Guitar Hero score multiplier on the side of the screen, and once it hits a certain level, a spin wheel comes down and drops stuff, and like there's a tower of coins that will appear if you hit a certain thing, and then like once you get the coins off, maybe they'll explode, and like you have an ability.
Is that exciting? Because like
yes,
in Balatro but is it good? Like you're like, I got more coins, I can unlock more things.
No, so here's the thing.
Balatro, where you're like, I got the score, I beat the level.
Here's the thing. Again, it's the play test for this, right? Okay. I'm sure that we'll change stuff as time goes on. Again, I don't want to be too critical because they could totally hear these criticisms and be like, okay, that's a reasonable one. I will make changes. Balatro, I think, was successful, at least in part, because there were so many options for the player to put themselves into the game. The way that you want to play, you could win basically with whatever route that you wanted to take.
Strategy,
exactly. Here, there's a similar thing, but a problem that I have with Ballionaire, in the same way that I do with this, is there's so little in your own control. Because of the physics system, because things are going all off the rails, there's no way for you to fully strategize. Like, how the cards are going to come out in Balatro. There's a couple random chance things that will maybe get in the way of your ability to have things go the way you're expecting. But for the most part, you can plan around the way that the deck is constructed. Here, it's like the coins will go a certain way, but the physics system will do what it does. It's hard to get around that.
Right.
They have ways of minimizing that. And again, I said it's really easy because there's so many things that overlap on top of each other and just create really simple strategies that allow you to get what you're looking for. Like there was points where I needed to get like 10,000 tickets and I got like 100,000 in 1 second. I didn't even think about it. It's like it's very easy to manipulate and make it not challenging. Again, it was the easy difficulty, so it can go up over time. Yeah, exactly. But still, to my point, the biggest thing for me when I played the tutorial and I finished it, I got to the end. I finished the 10th round. There was no infinite mode like in Balatro where you just keep going and see what happens. It was over, and then it was like, all right, play another one. And my thought was, isn't the fun of going and the fun in very big quotation marks of playing these games in an arcade machine? Isn't it that I get tickets and like get to buy stuff after?
Yeah, buy
Or
a
like
little,
literal
parachute army then.
coins.
Yeah.
That's the thing
Yes.
about RACCOIN is it's a pile of actual money that you
Yeah.
can spend on actual candy. And it's just like
There should be something.
yeah.
I'm sure, again,
Is
after
this
the fact.
playtest again?
Yeah,
Because
again,
there's no
yes,
metagame attached to it.
absolutely, absolutely. There may be some metagame stuff going on later, so it's all just. But there's this overarching feeling that I've had, and I think Jeremy and I have talked about it a couple times on the pod, of like there are so many indie games that are just like some form of gambling with some roguelike elements on it, and it's like, what is the fun part? Is it the dopamine? Is it the flashing lights? Because I don't know if that's necessarily fun. I can tell I'm being manipulated. Stop it. Stop it.
It's funny that so many services have moved towards a subscription model where in order to get access to the thing over and over again, you have to pay consistently, which is kind of what gambling is. And it's so funny that video games are like, we're not doing subscription for this because that's gambling. But if you pay us $30 up front, you can gamble infinitely for no reward and no purpose.
In fairness, in a real casino, you might lose that $30 in 5 minutes. Just sitting down.
It's a great value.
It's a great value, yeah.
But it's the possibility space of the casino. Not to defend the design of fucking casinos here, but if we're going rubber meets the road here, there are stakes and there are rewards in a casino, and the idea that I could win $1,000 and take everyone out for steak after,
that's the stakes.
The stakes
that you
are
mentioned,
literal stakes in this case.
Yeah.
Then that's the fun of it. But I feel like a lot of these games that are aping like casino design and like, I mean, this one's not a casino. You wouldn't play this in a casino. I don't think this is an arcade game. But
I mean,
it
it's
is
really
like,
not too far removed from a progressive slot machine. It's the same basic idea.
it is very pachinko. This is Western pachinko.
It is Western pachinko, yeah.
I just feel like it's like these games feel to me like they're so juice dependent. It is like what is for sale here is like the things are falling over, the coins are jingling, the fucking little star particle effects are like bloop, bloop,
keys in
bloop,
front of
bloop.
a baby.
It's a key jangler is what this genre is becoming. And it's,
We should just call it that. I love that.
That's I like it.
Checking out a new key jangler this week.
It's extremely derogatory, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, but
listen,
it's short-term rewards with no long-term payout. And is that not how we consume all media now? Is that not what TikTok is?
Yeah,
like it's there's no
flick.
you're not investing anything, so you get no long-term reward, but you're getting a consistent short-term reward. So, and that's just enough for some people, and that's totally fine. I don't feel bad or weird about how our society's going. Yeah, everybody needs their something.
Yeah, it sucks that everyone's got the same thing, and it feels like it's not like an organic approach. You know, I don't think anyone was sitting there and thinking, man, if only my phone had infinite videos, most of which I don't want to watch. It's just like someone sent you a link, you had to download the app, you watched one, and now you're like, this feels kind of nice. Does anyone else's brain feel fuzzy?
I can see if like RACCOIN came out in a society where we weren't grappling with that exact problem, maybe you know, it would receive as much sort of ire, and even Balatro's a game that we've talked about, you know, over the months about like that, you know, it's a digital version of Big Ten, and it's essentially, you know, I wonder if the creator of Balatro, Local Thunk, feels. I imagine he probably doesn't feel awesome when he sees people having played like 600 hours of Balatro. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's the goal, right? So. Yeah, I think it's hard to divorce these games. I mean, you can never really divorce art from the society in which it's in, but I think this is a particularly bad time for a lot of these games to be coming out because it does feel like we are just more Skinner boxed than ever by all of the media that's around.
Inundated with gambling. How many? I can't watch sports anymore without having a
sports is
PVR.
fucked.
Forget about it. It's always been bad, but it's worse now.
And,
I was
and
wondering
gambling
about
coming
this.
for games as well is
Absolutely, yes, 100%.
I mean, there's been like sort of, you can bet. I mean, esports stuff we've talked about before, but like, is there a law against like, you know, those we talked about it a while ago, the I forget who was it. Was for some reason I think Jenna might have actually been on that. I forget who I was talking to about it. It was those old Japanese racing games where the horse racing, but they're not horses. They're all just crazy like
They're
giraffes.
like anime
There's
girls,
necks.
like Uma Musume, is it?
No, not Uma Musume, but like similar to Uma Musume. But imagine an Uma Musume game where you weren't like the horse, trainer. You were the or horse girl trainer in that case. You were gambling on them. You were betting on them. Is that outside of Steam's terms of service? I wonder. Do they not let you do like sports betting games?
For now, yeah. Good point.
Well, no, I don't know because like they haven't changed any of their. Steam are happy to, abide by they're a fucking the same with the payment processor thing, right? Like, as long as they're making money, I don't know,
man. They sell everyone boxes that you have to get a key to maybe get a thing inside of. It's not how far removed is that? Valve, the like Team Fortress, like the hat boxes. Is that not some form of
That was
gambling?
when it was okay. That was before we realized that loot box was gambling.
Did they ever do loot boxes for Team Fortress? They had
maybe
hats and they had a
CS:GO. Is
hat
that what I'm thinking
economy.
of? Sorry, the guns.
Yeah,
like
CS:GO.
Yeah.
I mean, I would divorce one of the development teams within Valve from whoever is running Steam. I mean, 20 years of Steam being up, we have seen them be very apathetic to global policy. They're very downstream from it. It doesn't seem like they're actively trying to do anything in that regard. And I don't suspect they need to. And they're pulling 30% off of every piece of software sold on it. They're making enough money. I don't think they need to start lobbying governments about adding betting to the platform. But I do wonder if no, but that's what I'm saying is that like you can say that, but I don't think there's any proof of that being the case. I don't, have they ever wanted to push in that direction? I don't know. There's literally they've never.
If payment drops because there are fewer indie games, because there's no publishers giving money out to everything, like if their revenue drops in other ways, then that might be a revenue stream that they start to search for, which is what we've seen other companies in video games starting to do. I genuinely think in the next, let's say 1 to 3 years, gambling is going to be the main cultural force that we have to fight against in video games. That is my prediction.
Interesting. I think European law is going to basically kill that immediately.
I hope so.
Yeah. So I do worry though about the encroachment in this way in terms of gameplay. And I mean, I was screaming on GameSpot years ago about Destiny because I just thought, oh, you're just making a Skinner box shooter. Like loot shooters are that. That's what loot shooters are. They're just ways of getting you to play the same stupid level over and over and over and over again with like no story and who gives a shit mechanics.
I feel like the conversation about like betting adjacent things like loot boxes is relevant in the sense that it's like laying the groundwork for this. But I feel like what Jenna is saying is that like there was the article back in the end of June that Riot is opening betting company sponsorships for esports teams. And I feel like between that and the amount of, sort of like morally dubious live streamers who just sit there and fucking pull a digital slot machine while a bunch of 9-year-olds watch them all day is like it is creating the cultural conditions to emerge where it's like it's permissible to do because not enough people see it as reprehensible. And if you have enough, like all of those 9-year-olds will be 19-year-olds in a decade. And then when they
first
are
credit card and a payday
and like they're like
loans.
voting in their first like presidential election and like become like a cultural, a block of cultural force, then it's like, I don't know. I feel like it will take real resistance because like the thing is like companies operate in a way that is sort of like morally decoupled from, they're not like reading Schopenhauer and going like, oh, I don't know if we should do this. They're fucking saying, can we get away with this and do we need to do this?
Is it going to increase our money?
Yes. Yeah. Is it going to hurt us more than it is going to help us? Is it going to make us a bunch of money, or is it going to like, is there going to be so much public backlash that people will be like, fuck you?
That's exactly what I meant, Jeremy. Thank you.
Right. I think that's a very fair read on the situation. I would argue that a lot of these things, the Counter-Strike stuff, the sports betting stuff was happening 10 years ago. So a lot of those kids are of voting age now. I don't know if things are more complex than that. I don't know if the socio-political landscape is one in which younger generations are betting more or not. It seems to be most people who are betting are it's the older folks that have much more, it's the podcast dads. It's like the Joe Rogan thing where people go, oh my God, they're right-wingifying children. And it's like the average Joe Rogan listener is in their 50s. Like that's not actually what's going on here.
But we're not talking about Joe Rogan listeners. But I don't want to.
But betting similarly is older people.
Right.
So-
But to your point about the Joe Rogan thing, it's like, while Joe Rogan listeners are 50, the Joe Rogan listeners from 20 years ago have their own podcasts now, and those kids are watching Aiden Ross. Like, this 16-year-olds are watching people on like Kick, and they're getting
are
excited
they?
about their
Like, have we-
100% anecdotally, but like I know.
So that's the problem.
Yeah.
Is that I think
someone will
lot of
do a research thing.
there is some degree of liberal satanic panic that I push back a bit on, and that's this sort of, to me, might fall into that a little bit, where we get riled up about these things, but like ultimately, you know, and I'm speaking like, I don't know. I grew up. One of my first jobs was literally working on a tote at a dog racing track. So like, I fucking hate gambling and I hate this stuff, but I don't. You know, if you go to the local casino here, the youngest person there is me and my wife getting Starbucks, and everyone else.
Well, yeah,
is
because
in
they're
their
not at the
50s.
casino. That's
Yeah,
what we're
that's
saying.
loser-
They're not
that's
at
loser
it.
old
They're-
people shit. I'm not going to
Yeah,
the casino.
yeah.
half the
You've
casino
gone
is
to
a
the
sports
old
betting
people
thing,
boat to
you know?
see who's there, and
to
it's
check
the
out the
old
young people.
Yeah, you got to find the young people betting spots. But no, I don't disagree with you, Danny. What I want more than anything is for people to be on the lookout and to start now to be cautious about these sorts of behaviors. Because if we wait for companies to complete these things before we object, then it's going to happen, and we're not going to be able to reel back from it. I want people to be conscious of it now, so that when these companies start to do it, which I think is almost inevitable as the American economy hits some rocky times, it's something we need to be preemptively thoughtful about. So I agree with you that we don't need to be sounding the red alarm now, but we need to be aware. We need to be gambling aware of companies trying to take this
Which is very fair, especially when you look at sports betting, and that did totally creep up on everyone, because 10 years ago there were all these laws against a lot of this stuff. And
It was all, who cares about fantasy sports? Whatever, dude. It's all for fun. And then
well, it was all a lot of lobbying happening
Yeah.
in DC that we weren't, you know, privy to or reading about, or people didn't care. And then, you're 10 years later, every ad is about betting and in-play betting and all this. This all happened in the UK the 10 years prior to me moving here as well. So when it was here, it was like, oh wow, it's
like a
coming over
time
here
loop.
now as well.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
it was terrifying.
The future of the legality of gambling, you need only have played SimCity one time in your life to understand that when shit is going bad, you're like, oh, I'll just fucking zone a bunch of casinos and the crime will skyrocket. But like, well, the economy is in shambles. We need this.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, it is.
Also, like, I just pulled. I feel weird about this because I don't want to like name specific streamers that I find to be morally dubious people. But one of the largest streamers who sits and does fucking slot machines 24/7. I looked up their age demographics, and it's about 50% 18 to 24. So it's 1.9% 13 to 17. So the super young demographic are like, I mean, this is not like a Nazi. It's XQC. I'm not saying this person is like a fucking like whatever. Not someone I watch or whatever, but I was
Wait,
curious.
what happened there?
he's called a Nazi?
No, I said no.
not.
I'm
he's
saying
not.
he's not. I'm saying that
Equivocally
I
not.
didn't want to name a specific streamer who I find to be morally dubious, and then I was like, well, fuck it. It's XQC, and they're not a Nazi, so I feel okay. It's not like I'm saying.
Okay.
I'm not saying like, let me pull up, like Der Sturmer's favorite streamer or whatever. I'm just, I feel morally weird about being like, and let me put this person on blast for this, and also like, at the same time expose people to their work or whatever. But I was just curious about like someone who does a lot of gambling adjacent stuff, what the age demo of their viewership is. And it seems largely 18 to 24. So, not the aforementioned 9-year-olds, but still like, I mean, that dude's been streaming for a long time. Like that audience has been built out of people that are younger. I feel like a lot of that demo aged into the 18 to 24. So,
And how many of those are liars anyway? Yes.
that's true.
18, my ass. You're 14 and we know it.
How does I've never fucking gambled on my phone. Do you have to like, do you like take a picture of your driver's license and send it them? How does that?
Have you ever
Depends on
bought
the
weed on
service.
your phone? I bet it's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet
And
it's the same. Like
That is how I did it.
you take a photograph of your license, and then
That's how you get arrested.
And you texted some guy named Dave, and he's like, all right, I'll be over in 20 minutes.
All right. Yeah.
To
stuff.
circle back to RACCOIN, at the end of the
Yes.
day, if somebody is spending $30 once on a game that is going to substitute a gambling addiction, I'm like, okay, probably you should get the help you need, but that's like and an alternative that is not going to ruin your life and your family's life. But the other side of that is that there is such a limited pool of money to publish games, especially indie games right now. And the idea that even a small amount of that is going to, like hoop toss carnival games, balloon popping dart games, rather than a game that might have impact. Well, let's put a deck together, Jesse. Let's reach out to PlayStack with our carnival multi-game roguelike. But it's just like there are limited resources right now. There's especially limited resources. So the idea that some of those resources are going to these rather than the next Hollow Knight or, the next game that is doing something new or interesting or has a thoughtful story or like is going to push games forward in some way, it does kind of bum me out.
What would be the worst carnival game to make a game out of?
I think probably the one where there's a bunch of bottles and you've got a hoop and you have to throw the hoops on the bottles.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the worst
shit.
ones.
That sucks.
I'm gonna make a dunk tank roguelike, and
I'm on board. God, you got me. just the phrase.
Every time you guys pitch one, we're just coming up with a new $1 billion idea.
I don't know what the modifier is though. You'd have to be okay. Here's what it is. It's a combination of RACCOIN and the dunk tank, and the seat that normally a person sits on. It's just like a stack of coins, and when they all fall, they fall in and go like, bloop, 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 and they keep.
Dude! And when enough coins fall in, it goes, "Oh, your dad did love you." It's like, oh man, finally they made a good video game.
It comes with like
emotional
a thing.
payoff.
It has a peripheral that hugs you when you pass around.
Oh my God.
What if
pats
it's
you on
kind
the
of like it's actually like Papers, Please meets a dunk tank? So they're like pleading with you to not
Please
dunk.
don't
Like,
don't
they're
dunk
witches.
me.
They're witches.
Yeah, they're witches.
They're witches.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
Papers, Please witches, and you're dunking them.
You're trying
And
to figure out whether they're really a witch before you go through with it.
before you dunk them. And oh my God, Salem
Roguelike
witch trials.
Salem witch trials. You've
Oh
done
my
it.
God.
But the ironic thing about the game is that none of them are witches because witches aren't real. But you have to
But you
dunk
have
at
to
least
dunk
some
to
of
get
them because otherwise
to get your quotas.
If you pardon all of
Yes.
them, then you yourself may be a witch. Goody Sarah is going to be like, I think
Exactly.
he's a witch too.
Totally. So you need to so you're almost doing it based on she's old,
Wow.
Or like she's that one's kind of a pain in the
crone
ass.
out of here.
Yeah.
Put her in the
Yeah, or like she's having a fight with her neighbor and
This dude
whatever.
snubbed me once at a party, dunk his ass.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like that is the truest experience of the Salem witch trials, though. Is like that guy was like rude to me. He was rude to my wife. So like I feel like he's probably a warlock if I had to guess.
Okay, but
Were they
it
dunking
is.
warlocks too?
They were. It was men and women.
they were?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if they called them warlocks, but they definitely were Dunkin' dudes. Although
They
that
were
would be
Dunkin'
sick.
dudes.
Dunkin'
They were
Dudes.
called
That was the
Dunkin'
original
Dudes.
name. Dunkin' Donuts.
Dudes, and
They
it's
had to
the
switch
Dunkin'
it.
Donuts. It's
Yes.
fucking.
Logo.
It's just the
Yes.
most Massachusetts game ever. Jeremy,
saw-
you need to make
There
this
you go.
game.
I saw a fantastic. Speaking of Boston area culture, I saw a bumper sticker the other day that was the Dunkin' Donuts text format and color, and it said "drunken grown-ups."
That's really.
Oh my God.
On a car?
Yeah, it was on a car, which
Boston.
I've had the same thought that's like how you get fucking pulled over. Although I feel like,
Not in Boston,
like
is
I'm-
my guess.
I
It's
live.
the same
Boston.
amount of syllables. It's just perfect.
Yeah. I feel like if you're a mass state trooper, though, you'd be like, it's all good. That's fine.
That's
Yeah.
normal.
I know that
I
guy.
bet,
Right
like,
next to
as long
it
as
was
you're not doing
Kamala
any hot
2024.
stuff.
There's got to be some Southie rapper that's already dropped that bar. I feel like
Yeah.
you have
that's
to,
true.
Drunken Donuts. What was it? Dunkin'
Drunken
Donuts with
Grown-Ups.
drunken grown-ups. Yeah.
You grew up at Dunkin' Donuts. I grew up with drunken grown-ups.
That's it. That's perfect. Although who
Good.
grows up in Dunkin' Donuts?
I did.
Maybe half of Boston.
Bostonites.
Yes.
Bostonians.
Do you know how much RACCOIN is going to cost when it comes out?
How
It's a
much of your
playtest.
life do you have
Probably-
to sell?
Exactly.
More
yeah.
about a time investment, really.
How many shreds of your soul are you wishing to trade for this? I would, if I were
What's
to
the Souls
guess,
like?
$20.
That's a guess.
That's a guess. I'm guessing.
Insubstantiated.
It's funny you say that. I cannot shake the mental image of the arcade version of RACCOINs where you can see all of the coins. I can't shake the image that is like a real life version of when you're playing a Souls-like and you see 80 blood stains next to a cliff, because it's like every single one of those coins represents a failure.
Oh yeah,
every
you're right.
single
You're
one
right.
represents somebody who tried to do exactly what you're doing and lost a quarter. It's 1-to-1. All games are the same game.
Isn't that funny? You just
That's
don't even
beautiful.
think about that. Yeah.
That you've just given me such a good idea for the next generation of what Souls could become, and it is boss
Gambling?
fights that are like it's gambling, and it's a bunch of people standing around the ring throwing money at a Millennia
Pong.
fight. Okay, Souls game where the bosses are like actually fucking virtually impossible, and every single person is fighting the same boss until one person in the world beats it.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
it's just like 6 billion souls.
the
You've just
lottery.
created
Scattered
raids.
at the
That's
door.
just raids.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I guess that's just World of War. I mean, Dark Souls MMO that's what we're all waiting for. Bring it.
Yeah, we're one step closer, Elden Ring. Just finished the fight. I'm going to quickly talk about one, and I think, Jenna, you've got a quick one too, it looks like. My quickie is This Seat Taken? It's a sweet little puzzle game that came out last week, or the week before, actually. Sorry, August 7th. It's a fun game. I've enjoyed playing it. It's $10. It is a puzzle, and I'm prefacing this by saying like it's not going to set the world on fire, but I've enjoyed playing it. It's basically a game where you are given the task of sitting a bunch of, let's just call them characters, people in various places, like a restaurant or a bus or a gig or whatever, and some of them have certain preferences. One of them wants to sit beside the window but doesn't want to be near anyone stinky. One of them hasn't showered in a week. One of them doesn't like loud noises. Another one wants to have a loud conversation with somebody. Another one wants to listen to music. Another one wants to dance. Another one wants to be on a table with their best friend. And you basically have to pick up these cute little characters. They're all like little shapes, gorgeous little art style to it, sort of desaturated, like not duotone, like triotone sort of look to it. And yeah, it's just like a fun little game. Lots of picking people up, dropping them down, satisfying little unlock system. Each one takes place in a different city. So the opening one's Barcelona, and then you go off to another European city, and you're just doing basically variations on we need to get people into these places and put them there. But it's a cute little puzzle game. Like I said, it's not going to be on my game of the year list or anything like that, but I have enjoyed playing it. It's $9.99 at the moment, or $8.99 at the moment, with a 10% discount off for the opening to it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's really well made.
Yeah, it seems
been
like a good
playing that
weekend
too.
video game. Oh, you've been playing
Oh,
it
have
too,
you?
Jenna?
Yeah, do you like- what you make of it?
I love it. It's perfect, iconic, like podcast game where I can have a little show on, be doing my little logic puzzle. I agree with you. There should be like this separate category for game of the year stuff where it's like it's kind of like a little to the left or unpacking, where it's like this it's not going to be in my top 10, but it's not because it's a bad game. It's a great game. It's arguably a perfect game for what it's trying to be.
What it's doing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not necessarily innovating. It's just like a really good example of the thing that it is trying to be, which is a satisfying logic game.
Yeah.
Well worth
It's not like
$8.99.
moving
Yeah.
in any way, right? Which makes me, because whenever I think about my game of the year, I think about games that like moved me. You know what I mean? But yeah, cool. I'm glad to hear you had a similar experience.
great game.
I'm gonna keep plugging away at it.
I wanted to say about is the seat taken? When I played the demo earlier in this year, I was thinking immediately of my buddy who, when planning a wedding, was explaining to me all of the orientations he could have of the different people in his family. He's like, I can't sit Georgia next to Frank because Georgia doesn't like. And I was like, wow, they made a wedding planning video game. And finally, you can experience it without having to spend $30,000. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's funny. There's something oddly satisfying about it as well. From the bus one, I especially liked. Having taken buses a lot in Ireland and in London, like that's being sat beside somebody you don't like is like the worst. And there is no world in which everyone gets together and decides where they sit on the bus. Yeah. So I found it really satisfying to be like, everyone's happy on this bus. This is great. It's the first time it's ever happened.
Although if it was up to me, all of the people playing music on the bus with no headphones on would be outside of the bus, perhaps under it.
It is satisfying to cluster them together and be like, all right, you noisy ass people can be in your corner listening to your podcasts and music out loud. The rest of us will sleep over here.
I would never do that in London because of the chances that it's usually young people and they are the ones that have the knives. But I did throw someone off a bus in London before. So
Oh, wow.
he was an older gentleman who was he wasn't older. He was like probably early 40s, but he was drunk and being really wretchedy to a bunch of women on the bus, and the bus driver was screaming at him and we wouldn't leave, and I was really pissed off after work, and I went downstairs and grabbed him and fucked
Yes. Oh my God.
and
Like
the bus driver
old
closed the
cartoon
door.
style.
Yeah. And the bus driver closed the door and we went, and I was like,
Iconic.
wow, I should have thought about that before. Like that could have gone bad, but it was pretty funny. So
Nailed
That's
it.
awesome.
yeah, anything goes at Elephant and Castle bus stop. I played a bit of the game you're talking about here too, Jenna. Time Flies. This, I feel like I played this at a bunch of shows over the years. Published by our
Panic.
good friends at Panic. Yeah, exactly.
Just like Herdling.
Yeah.
This is an interesting game because it's a game that like sort of has a loop that is about, what is it, a minute or something like that?
Well, that's one of the, I think, interesting things about the game is that the first thing you do when you start a game after you've died even is choose a nationality. And the amount of time you have in the game is based on the life expectancy of that nation. So, based on, I believe, UN statistics. So
But this is, not the life of a human, not the life of a fly.
yes,
Which is what you play in
human
this
life
game.
expectancy.
Okay.
This is the second ever threshold. Like,
Yes, I knew I was thinking the same thing.
You're right. yeah.
holy shit. Sorry.
So you get seconds equivalent to the number of years, which is itself very fascinating because you can just click through and be like, oh, okay, wow, that's really high, or oh, wow, that's a little bit low, and that's in itself very interesting. And then you hop into a level. You're a little fly. You have as many seconds as you have years. And you just are trying to complete your bucket list. So I think the bucket lists are really fascinating. There's 4 of them. What's fascinating is that everything on a bucket list are things that would be real human bucket list stuff, like learn an instrument, make a masterpiece, things like that. But you are just a little fly trying to do them. So the way that the game interprets those and the exploration you have to do to sort of be like, okay, did I do it? Okay, I'm going to interact somehow with this weird object. What is it going to reward me with? The whole experience, it took me about 2 hours and 15 minutes. I think the game expectancy, again, is 3 to 4, but for us real gamers, we're able to get it locked in pretty quickly. Our time is limited because we have so many games to play.
We're just so good. What was I had the same problem a couple of weeks ago with something where I was like, this said it was going to be 4 hours, but it ended up being 3, and I felt guilty about it. I don't know. That's the Wheel World. It was Wheel World. Yeah. Wheel World.
I think you want to over rather than underestimate, because I think people are more likely they want an overestimation sometimes.
Time Flies also has a great art style. It's basically just like monochromatic, like almost sketchbook drawings.
Yeah, very, very sparse pixel drawings. You as a fly are basically just a square with wings, and you're just exploring. And there's so many. This game does the thing that I love when video games do, which is it'll show you an object and be like, I know how you're going to want to play with this. I know how you're going to want to interact with it. And I'm going to give you a little reward for doing it. But it also has a lot of stuff where it's like, oh, I would not have expected that to be how this goes. But here it is. There's one where you're in an art gallery and they show you the statue of David, and you can interact with the fig leaf over David's genitalia, and once you have to hit it with your little fly body to get it to drop, and when it does, there's like another layer of leaves, and then another layer of leaves, and then surprise, some kind of genitalia. But it's one of those things where it's like, in a way, I expected this, but in another way, this was such a fun little novel experience. So it's an absolute delight. I think it's sub $10.
$15,
I think
15.
Whatever it is, it's worth it. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, time flies. It's great. It's a funny week for all these like sort of experiential, either short games or just linear-ish games, I guess. And then also RACCOIN, which
this is an experience.
This game really convinced me that I love Panic as a publisher, because they're just
great.
putting out some crazy shit.
Does Panic make the Playdate as well. Is that them?
Yes. Yeah, they
Okay.
do that.
yeah.
They also came out with Thank Goodness You're Here,
Yep.
which
And
is
they
on my
have
game of the
that
year
new
list.
one, Blippo Plus, coming out. Right?
Yes, I'm really
Yeah,
excited.
that
about
I am
one.
excited for.
Are they publishing the new House game? Because they did Untitled Goose Game.
There's a new House game?
Oh,
No. Isn't it in the new House game that one that like co-op one?
Oh, Big
where they're-
Walk?
Big Walk.
Big
Yeah.
Walk, yeah. Isn't that House?
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think it is.
Published by Panic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Okay. They also published Despelate and Arco, two of.
yeah. And Noor,
fifth,
which was my game of the year it came out.
Which one? Noor.
Noor, play with your food.
Yeah, food
It-
puzzle game.
It is not a traditional game. It is like a weird food simulator where you get in and you just mash buttons. It's a toy box
looks
experience.
crazy.
It is a genuine delight. I cannot recommend it enough.
Okay, I'm gonna check this one out as well.
Yeah.
Noor.
But they're just like they are publishing bangers.
Weird bangers.
Yep.
Also, with Time Flies, I remember I was reading this. I wanted to double check. I played the first chunk of it. Thought it was pretty cool. I agree with everything you're saying, John. But Stephen Totillo did some real journalism over on GameFile.
Oh wow, he's like the fly is a Nazi.
Almost. Well, so he was curious about the statistics for the life expectancy stuff that
Oh,
they
right,
pulled,
yeah.
and it turns out Palestine is an option
Yeah.
Nice.
in the
Yeah.
game, and it's the seconds are short.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway.
Yeah, thanks for that. Let's segue out of that to Super Metroid.
All right.
Jeremy, you've been playing Super Metroid for the first time?
I've never played any Metroid game in my life. I've not played Prime,
Except Hollow
Dread.
Knight.
So well, that's true. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of playing the Metroidvania genre in reverse because I have played a lot of the popular contemporary ones, but I've never played a Metroid and I've never played a Castlevania. I played like a little bit of Symphony of the Night at a friend's house, but that's it. That does not count at all. And after playing I actually started playing Super Metroid before I started playing and it was kind of the perfect time because has like a list of influences in the credits, and Metroid is among them, obviously. The comparison is pretty obvious, but it's like is sort of like a mini Metroid. It has a lot of sort of backtracking with new information. You blow open a wall, now you know the wall is blow openable, and et cetera, et cetera.
Just on that, because you guys played it last week and I hadn't. Similar to you guys, it's really fantastic. It's just a
you've
great,
played it?
Glad you
perfect
liked it.
little. Yeah, I haven't completed it yet, but yeah,
check it
yeah.
out.
This is the one.
Jenna.
It's It's what is it? Umlaut O. Is that how
Yes.
you pronounce it?
This is so far. This is my game of the year. I love
Another short. Another short king. We'll call it.
$10 sold.
It is fantastic. It's like I saw some people being like, oh, it's like kind of small or humble. I feel like it is like it's just all killer, no filler. There's not because like playing Super Metroid, it's interesting because it was sort of the game that broke through into like, it's what we associate with Metroid. Like I dabbled a little bit in the NES version of Metroid, and it is funny how the blueprint is there, but Super Metroid like refines it into this gem that we really think of. But it is interesting how, because Super Metroid is very like exploration heavy, playing it after is so the contrast is so stark because is like, there are sort of like hidden panels you can blow open and stuff like that. But it's once you learn the pattern, you know exactly where to look. There's like a rule to where they're placed.
It's so weird though.
Super
It's so
Metroid is
implied.
like, but it's so like it's like telepathy from the developer that it's like he's like thinking the space where it is so hard, and eventually your brain receives it like a radio. But in Super Metroid, it's like, I have found it to, I feel like Super Metroid expects a lot of the player, and that's kind of why I'm finding it interesting, is like, it's way more frictional than I expected, because I've been playing it before bed. I like turn off my computer and just go play Super fucking Metroid. No guide, no nothing, no podcast. My phone is off. I'm just like sitting in bed playing this. And
you and Samus.
Just me and Samus. And it's like, I feel like it's the ideal conditions to play it under, because there have been a lot of moments where I have been like, I feel like I'm soft locked. Like I feel like that's happened like 7 times where I'm like, I think I did this in the wrong order, or like, I don't think there's anywhere to go. And then the only thing to do, because I have made this like no guides rule for myself for playing this, is just backtrack and just like fucking just like walk in each room and like fucking put my hands on my hips and like look around and be like, is any of this like blow any of this up?
Is this the like 1994 version of, because like obviously all these games are coming, we're coming from the arcade, games are hard, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of these games are just super difficult. And obviously that's a game that isn't necessarily combat difficult. I mean, the bosses might be, but like, is this their version of difficulty? Was just like, figure it out,
Obscurity.
motherfucker. Yeah.
It is kind of like a security through obscurity thing. Yeah, it's interesting. And it's not even really like, there is a logic to the puzzles, but the first time you get, obviously Samus turns into a little ball and drops little bombs, and some of the little bombs blow up little tiles, but the tiles look totally indistinguishable from the rest of the tile map. And the first time I had to do that, I swear to God, I backtracked through this section, the entire world that I had unlocked to that point, maybe like 4 times, and it was just like bombing every corner, and it was like, and finally one of them blew open, and that sounds like a terrible fucking experience, but I swear to God, when it happened, I was like mouth agape, like, and I guess that's why it's cool, is like I feel like I'm experiencing this game in such a timeless way, like whatever 30 years after it came out, and it like, because I have met it with patience, these moments are yielding like genuinely sort of like revelatory experiences, which is, I mean, that's what I liked about OO too. And it got me thinking about like, there's Metroidvania is like a kind of terrible label, it's like, that's why we were talking with Frank about like Search Action as the Japanese version of Metroidvania, or like I've seen people say
Castleroid, man.
Castleroid's right there. Platformer adventure I have also seen, which I think is pretty apt. But there's a lot of debate about what are the defining characteristics of a Metroidvania, and people say like, non-linearity, openness, sort of like soft gated, like ability gated or knowledge gated, whatever areas. I feel like the thing that I enjoy most about this like quote unquote genre is like epiphanies, like feelings of revelation. It's like moments where world rules click with you, and that could be either ability based or non-ability based, but it's like, that's what's for sale for me. That's why I've realized that's what I like about these, is like the moment where it clicks with me is like, you feel like an idiot and then a genius, and like that transition is so addictive. And so I'm just like sludging through this game, and I keep getting lost, and I keep going like, there's nowhere to go. I don't know where the fuck to go. And then I'll find something and be like, it's like it's always the last place you look. And literally in this case, the last place I look, because you get the map and it shows you all the places you've not gone. And it's all literally, I've just like scour everything until I find the little fucking crumb of whatever. And then it starts all over again, where I'm like, now we're back on track. And then I'm lost within 2 minutes. But yeah, I don't know.
You gotta stick with it? You gotta complete it?
Yeah, I feel like I'm getting close. I think I'm probably about 2/3 through it.
Okay.
But it's this Metroid. Have you heard about this Metroid? it's pretty good. But yeah, no. The other thing I want to say is it's very funny, because there will be moments where I'll get so stuck and I'll be like, I don't know how anyone figured this out back in the day. Like, am I an idiot? And then I'll finally solve it after backtracking unnecessarily 6 times. And then when I solve it, there was like, I'll just say the name of the thing because it doesn't spoil how you solve it. But there's an early portion where there's a bridge, and it doesn't tell you what to do. It's just like, get over the bridge, but the bridge collapses. And I finally figured out what to do. The game does not tell you at all. And I Googled Super Metroid Bridge, and there's 1,000 forum posts about like, the Metroid community calls it the noob bridge because it filters everyone, because no one can figure out how the fuck to get over it.
Oh, wow.
So and it felt like, it was very satisfying getting absolutely played by a 31-year-old piece of game design, and then going online and there's like IG, or like, like fucking NeoGAF forums and like IGN forums and GameFAQ forums from 20 years ago, where people are like, I can't believe it's still getting them. And it's like, oh my God, dude, I'm still getting got by like by like ancient Babylonian riddles.
That's pretty cool. I like that a lot.
It's very good. I need to play more of the. I think after I work through this, I might either. I don't know if I want to play the NES Metroid. I might just get into Castlevania after this too. Because
have you not played any of the Castlevania games? Like not just the Symphony Onward ones?
No, none of them. I want to play. What's the? Is it Simon's Quest?
The 2, the one that is well regarded as the worst one.
Yes, I want to play Simon's Quest. Because it was, people call it I think it was Igarashi himself called it like a Zeldavania more than a Metroidvania.
Oh, wow. Pretty apt. Yeah.
So I want to play.
Obtuse as hell.
Yeah. I've also never played Zelda 1 and 2, so I want to play those as well.
There you
The
go.
end.
Fat sessions coming up soon with Jeremy.
The
Get some of
Nintendo
these
files.
ticked off. Exactly. The Nintendo files. Wow, that's
Sorry.
Nintendo Island. We'll call
Oh
it.
no. No.
A lot of games talked about this week. Off, Time Flies, Is This Sea Taken, Sword of the Sea, Herdling, RACCOIN, Super Metroid, all talked about this week. We got a couple of emails here, folks, if you don't mind. Podcast at noclip.video if you want to send them in, or smash them in the old Discord. We've got a podcast channel in there. We'll scoop them out. David Sandell says there's always talk about how there's a ton of indie games releasing on Steam every day that have hard time finding their audience. At the same time, I've been hunting for recent indie games to play on my Steam decks next to my sleeping baby, and they're almost impossible to find. I've Googled Red Gaming sites, asked people on Reddit and Discord servers, listened to podcasts, but it's usually the same couple of indie games that show up that I've either already played or are not for me. The other week I was buying a game on Steam, and on the checkout page, a game called Day of the Shell was being recommended. I bought it on a whim, and it's a pretty good mix of Hades and XCOM. However, when I Googled it, not a lot of organic discussion about it shows up. I've done my part and mentioned it to friends, reviewed on Steam and all that, but how would you come across a game like that? I feel like the only solid way to find out about smaller indie games is following indie devs on social media and see what they promote. I get a lot of good indie FPS game recommendations that way, but I can't follow devs from every subgenre. Where can I find indie game recommendations without having to wade through mentions of blueprints, Claire Obscure on the altars again and again and again? I'm asking you because you have been the most reliable source thus far. I would never have found last year's absolute gem, Arco, without you. Published by Playstack, right?
No. Is it
Arco?
Panic.
Isn't it?
Arco? Panic, yeah.
Panic, I meant. Sorry, Panic,
Okay.
not Playstack. Sorry. My bad.
There's no gambling in
I-
Arco, so.
I feel like this question is like the reason we're doing the second channel stuff in a big
It was
way.
a
is
great
because-
tee up, honestly.
Yeah, thank you.
these emails
I wrote that email. No, but for real, it's like, because it's a fucking nightmare having to, because I feel the same way. Like the quote unquote, like the organic way to find this stuff is literally just trudge through a bunch of social media posts by devs that I follow and try to accrue a sufficient number of them. But like, thinking about video games is like my job. So if I worked at an accounting firm, I probably wouldn't spend as much time going on social media and following indie devs.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a sort of professional time investment that I'm making. So yeah, I mean, our new channel, and I feel like there are more people sort of like trying to surface indie games and act as like, I don't know. I don't know what the term is. What's cultural gatekeeper, but like a positive for cultural
Like a
Influencer?
Influencer? Yeah.
Influencer.
Oh, that's gross.
Sorry.
No, that's also-
Sorry
that
about
also
it.
hurts.
That's the word.
Why you
That's
gotta use the
literally
right
word.
words, Jenna? Come up with something
Sorry.
fun. Make a pun.
Indie
I don't know.
fluencer. Is that better?
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, wow, that's
Well,
worse. I take it back. I like your first one.
That's worse than Metroidvania, which is also a term that I kind of like. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. Yeah, it's like you either follow a bunch of indie devs or you follow a person who follows a bunch of indie devs. Feels
Yeah.
like there's not really a good like aggregator site that does it.
Yeah.
No, and then it might fall through the same problem. Because like I think about that with our second channel, and like a lot of the games that we cover, indie games as well, are like a certain subset of them, to a certain extent, you know what I mean? Or maybe not indie games, just of games that come out. Like there's loads of other types of stuff that come out that I, maybe doesn't necessarily speak to us. But yeah, I think this is, I mean, I listen to all three of you here are people who I follow on Twitter and YouTube channels and stuff because of this exact reason, because I trust your opinions and I need those connections. And I'm in the same spot where following devs is kind of the way I do it. But the thing is, you follow an indie dev, like that indie dev's going to release a game every few years. You know what I mean? So like you have to follow a lot of people, and then that becomes its own discoverability issue where suddenly you're following so many people and you're like, you can't hear the noise. And then it's self-selecting. The problem we've mentioned bunches of times is that like when you're making a game, it's like the old Mitch Hedberg joke about like, oh, you're a comic. Do you want to write a screenplay? And he's like, well, that's not fair. This is my job. Don't ask me to do a different job. Game developers are making games and they also have to market their game. Like that's a whole other skill set. A lot of them don't do it until right at the end, or that's half the reason lots of them get publishers is just to be able to get access to an audience or find or have people to do that for them. So that's self-selecting as well,
Here's my number one tip. And this is a tricky thing because when people say indie games, they usually mean small games, not games that are independently published. And so like Dave the Shell, I looked it up on Steam, had a publisher. What you want to do is learn publishers, not developers. Because as we've talked about in this episode, like Panic has the games they publish are very tonally similar, even if the gameplay itself is kind of different a lot of the time. But it's tonally very consistent. Devolver Digital has a specific kind of tonal game that they will publish. Like, and that's true generally because the people that work at the publishers are the ones screening games. So if a publisher is around for long enough and publish enough games, then you will be able to see like what is the vibe of this publisher. So if you find a game that you like, see who published it and check out other games from that publisher. That is a great way of finding smaller games. Indie games are harder. Indie games have the thing that you're talking about, which is like sometimes if you're lucky enough to find an indie game, you can find what else that studio has published, and sometimes that's really interesting. Mouthwashing is a really great example of that, is that I played Mouthwashing, and then I went back and played How Fish Is Made and The Water Museum, because it's just like, okay, I really liked this game. What else have they done? So things like that are a great way of doing it. And to the larger point, what you're saying is true, is that there's like 10,000 games drop on Steam every day. But the answer is a lot of them are garbage. It's simply true. A lot of them are like AI slop that has been put up because they're hoping to trick people into buying it. Or, they're just gambling loot box generators.
Acid flippy stuff.
Yeah. A lot of it's garbage.
The sex games.
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many sex games.
Oh,
of
the
sex
games.
Yeah.
So
that should be our third Patreon.
That could be your third Patreon.
Noclip.
You go
hire
ahead.
me. I'll do it.
There you go.
I'll
Sex
do
games
it.
got you.
We should do sex game reviews.
I
I
would-
played some sex games.
I would
They're
love to
all
do
the
that.
same game.
Yeah, basically.
It's like, wow, I just got to flirt with this person forever. And
Yeah.
Then the weird stuff starts. You're like, ugh.
If you want good sex games, you have to go to Itch. That's what I'll say.
Yep.
Okay. There you go. Scratch that itch. That should be the name of the Patreon.
Not
There we go.
anymore. Not right now. Give it a month or two. Hopefully, you'll be able to get those games on Itch again.
Oh yeah. Oh God, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, there are things like that. Like this is the thing is like a lot of indie games get popular because of word of mouth. But it's like in order to get word of mouth, people have to be able to find and play your game. So how does it get to the level of word of mouth? Is like there are influencers who play a lot of indie games. And
It'd be
some
cool
of
if there
them
were people
suck.
who were paid to play
Yeah.
video games and talk about them and write about them on a regular basis and didn't rely solely on ad revenue. If only there was magazines and websites and outlets. That's lame. Who cares?
There are also, I've been desperately scrolling through my bookmarks trying to find it. There are certain shows, I wish I could surface the example of the exact one I'm thinking of, but certain showcases that will take submissions of like small, weird left field games and then curate them. Occasionally will be like, here are the 1,050 games that were submitted, that if you want to go through them yourself, not the curated, like this ends up in the showcase, but they'll say, here's like every single person that submitted a trailer to us. Here's a YouTube playlist of them. I will try to find the one that I'm thinking of if I can, and we'll put it in the description if possible.
I can recommend two off the bat. Dave the Dev. Not enough people are watching Dave the Dev.
True.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. I think a lot of industry people watch it. Fans need to be watching it too, because they publish some killer games, or they promote some killer games.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. I would also recommend Seattle Indies as, again, a relatively smaller but a curated list of games. So those are two good sources.
Nice one. I ultimately think that this is something we should probably do as well. I mean, there's a lot of showcase shows out there, but I think it is something we should do. And I also think the way around it is to either stop. I think trailers is a big problem. I think editing trailers is really fucking time intensive. It's time intensive for like video producers. Like if you don't make trailers are hard to make. They're expensive to make for studios. And obviously getting on a lot of these showcases is a big problem, but also just the cost of shooting a trailer or having a publisher pay for the trailer, whatever it is. Trailers are the problem. I think there's probably a smarter, and also they're like boring to watch after a while. Like if you watch Summer Games Fest, like how many fucking trailers can you watch? Like trailers have a very obvious rhythm to them. They are about the same length. And if you've watched like 15 of them in a row, your eyes glaze over. So like, I think trailers are like are a legitimate production issue with a lot of this stuff. And I bet there is another way of doing showcases that isn't so reliant on trailers, like a quarter of them be trailers. And then the rest of them be some other type of thing, like somebody explaining the game or screenshots or whatever it is, some type of other way of doing it. I think that would, I don't know, possibly do it. And then the other one is that we should totally do like a competition or something user voted where a bunch of like single person devs get in there, and then whatever one wins, we make the trailer. We like straight up just do the trailer for them.
That would be cool.
And then that'll be pretty awesome.
I do sometimes I will do like if there's a Games Fest, Next Fest or something, I will just download like 40 demos and I will do live streams where I'm going to give each of these demos half an hour, and we just crank through dozens. And that's a great way of figuring out some good games and some games, you're not going to want to play.
I think that's probably the most useful thing you can do is like if you want to get into the finding weird offshoot games that maybe aren't necessarily like the Blueprinces of the world where, every press outlet got a copy early enough and the remaining ones got one early enough and they're all talking about it because there's only so much time left in the world for us to play and talk about video games. If you want to find offshoot stuff, you got to do the work. No, you know what I mean?
Tell us what else is going on.
Sorry, I'm not trying to get dark about it
here.
I'm not trying to get dark about it. Sorry, I meant like, there's not a lot of people getting paid to talk about them. That's what I meant. If you want to do that sort of thing, I think demos weirdly are like the best way to do it. Like Jenna's saying, it's, Next Fest, watch out for that. But also if you have a genre that you like, there is a festival on Steam every other day with a sea of demos in it. So just keep an eye out. You can see them in advance too, like way in advance. Something like 6 months in advance. I think you can see the fests that are going to take place on Steam. So just like Google that. I'll put a link in the description of that as well. Keep an eye out for that. Itch is the hardest one though, because like I do my due diligence with Steam. Every day I check SteamDB and I look through all the new releases every single day because I am always curious what's going on. Itch has a way bigger problem of stuff going. Well, problems is maybe the wrong word. Who cares? You can upload games. It's fine. But like, it's impossible to keep track of what's going on over there. They don't have the same sort of setup as Steam, and there's no HDB as far as I'm aware.
It's hard to filter stuff a bit.
Exactly.
To get a bird's eye view kind of what's on
and like,
a day.
TTRPG stuff might be in the wrong category, and I click on it and I'm like,
animations, some stuff that's
comics.
And it's a problem because it's great that it has that facility for everything, but it does mean if you're trying to self-select a little bit, it's hard to get the right filters in. And then for those of you who don't have that much time, to do all that, hopefully we'll be able to help with that stuff on the second channel. In the next, keep your eyes peeled for that, ears peeled, all the peeled. Jeremy, were you jumping in there?
No, I was still trying to find that list. I think it's the IGF submissions post a playlist every year. Cool. I had one from last year bookmarked, and I've searched every combination of those key phrases. I did find an IGF 2017 playlist on YouTube, but that seems a little. I think probably most of those games are either canceled or out by now.
That's the year Hollow Knight came out.
Yeah. Oh my God. What does it mean? Also, when we were, I have to bring this up now. When we were talking about games earlier, every single game, not everyone, but Time Flies and Herdling, both on the Steam pages were like, if you liked Hollow Knight, you might like this.
You're
and
kidding.
I was, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense.
Sorry. Everything is Hollow Knight now.
What? Pez on the Discord says the rolling saves of Indiana Jones made me, bit me during gameplay and it made me realize there's been a ton of different ways to save your game. Autosaves, going to the menu and saving manually, clever in-game save mechanisms like Earthbounds, where you call your dad. Some of these methods break immersion, while others are integrated with the story and lore of the game. What are some standout games that use clever in-game methods that allow you to create a save without relying on autosave or exiting to a menu?
Typewriter tape, Resident Evil.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Restricts the amount of.
Griffins, yeah.
It's so good. That, and I also love an Alien Isolation, where you have to like
Yes.
physically go and just lock in to this machine, and you can't see if anything's sneaking up behind you.
That's pretty great. And they also limit how often you can do it on those, right? I think there's like a timer on
So-
those where you can't go back to one of those machines for a while.
Yeah.
Those like emergency boxes. Yeah, that's pretty good.
There was one earlier in the year that you were talking about, Danny, that I think about quite like more often for
Shadow
a game I've never
Gambit?
played. No, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The save is like you have to make a potion, right?
You do. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
That's awesome.
It's
I love that.
Really fun.
yeah, what's the deal with it? I forget how, oh God, how does it work? How
I
does
never
it work?
played it. I
think
think
no,
about
yeah,
that.
so you can I think you can save, it's been a while, I have to go back and play more. I think you can save at certain points at the story checkpoints, I think, but if you want to save out in the world, like a save scummy save or a quick save, you have to make a potion first. That's
So
true.
funny.
Yeah. Which is fantastic.
It's really good.
I forgot about that. Shadow Gambit's a great one. That was the one where they basically mechanized save scumming. So before you go into one of these turn-based encounters, I forget how it works. It's like a portal. Like you create a save portal that if you die, you go back to. But that's like within the game world, and you can only do them at certain times. That was really smart. I think my favorite might be Steel Battalion though, where if you played the original Steel Battalion with the big, crazy big controller, if you didn't eject from your mech, your save game was deleted. So you had to eject to
So
save.
funny.
Yeah, so you're in the fight and it's like, I've had to go. And if you just had it on controller, you just press the buttons or whatever. But if you were playing with the big Steel Battalion controller, the eject button was like a big red button that was under a plastic cover.
That's
so
so
you had to
cool.
like straight up flick it up and dunk on the big button, and you get shot up into the, and then you're saved. You'd lose the mission, but you'd be able to continue with that character and save. But if you didn't do that, if you got killed, the game was over. So it was pretty cool.
I should be able to buy a button like that and put it to use in any way I see fit in my life. That
Big
should
red
be how
button.
I turn off my phone alarm in the morning. I should have
There
to.
used, do you remember that website, iwantoneofthose.com? Do you remember that? Oh, it was like, maybe it was big in Europe, but it was basically just a website where they sold chintzy shit. It was like stuff you don't need, but you want. And they did have a USB big red button that you could buy that you could just code to do whatever. And it was just a huge, big, like keyboard looking button, but it was red. So that was pretty cool.
I deserve it.
I should add that one in. Any other ones we can think of? I think that's pretty much all the
Yeah, those
goodies.
are like the best ones.
Ink Ribbons, man, can't beat him. That's a podcast for this week. Housekeeping stuff, like I said. Jenna as well is here on the podcast. She was meant to be coming on our panel at PAX. But PAX did a whoopsie. Despite the fact that they knew it was the same Jenna Stoeber. They managed to put one of your panels on at the same time as ours. So our panel's on Saturday at 5 o'clock. Noclip's secret panel about video game documentaries and tapes. Jenna, what panels do you have going on at PAX?
Well, I'm hosting two. One is the PAX panel show at 5:30. So when you trickle out of the Noclip, you can come join the second half of my panel. You'll be lost, but you will if you're there from the start too. It's called the PAX panel show. And it's a UK style panel show where I subject the panelists to a series of inane games that I have crafted out of the deepest, cruelest parts of my heart. So it's great for me and it's great for the audience, and the panelists are also there. And then a Sunday at some time, I'm doing a panel called Tears, of the Kingdom, where we are going to be putting into tier lists everything from Tears of the Kingdom. That's the plan.
That's the best titled panel already for Tears of the Kingdom.
It's going to work great for this PAX. In future PAXs, when it's no longer about Tears of the Kingdom, it's going to be meaningless. But
that's true. Are there any other games with tears in the name?
I'm going to dig it up. We'll see. I'll do a quick Google a month before PAX East 2026 and see what I find.
Fantastic. Thanks for coming on again. If people want to check out your stuff, it's youtube.com/@the_Jenna.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
And on Patreon, no underscore, right?
Yes.
So patreon.com/thejenna.
On twitch.tv /the_Jenna as well.
Perfect. Yes. If we've talked about all of her awesome videos over the past while. I know earlier this year, one of my favorite ones was the video essay you did on Indica. It was terrific. But yes, there's a bunch of stuff there. Elden Ring video was the most recent one. I remember that Mario one about Nintendo swimsuit problem. Loads of great video essays over there. Go check them out. And of course, all of the streaming, indie game streaming too. On our end, Machine Games is up for early access, the first episode. So if you want to watch it, I managed to cram in Jens Matthias. I woke up at 5 a.m. on Monday to interview him in Sweden and then spent all day yesterday cramming him into the docs because I just needed him. He's just a funny dude and he was creative director on Wolfenstein and it felt really weird not having him. But he doesn't work at Machine Games anymore. So he managed to find the time for me. So thank you, Jens. Apparently he's a Noclip fan. I had no idea. That was pretty cool. So the first video is now 8 minutes longer. It's a whole third of it longer than it was originally. So you can check that episode out over at patreon.com/noclip. 33 minutes long, the first episode, which is the prehistory of Machine Games, basically all about Starbreeze. So The Darkness, Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay, Enclave, and that Syndicate remake as well to a certain extent, how they fell out with EA, how the Machine Games stuff was founded. They brought them out to id to basically test and see if they knew what the fuck they were doing before handing them Wolfenstein. There's a lot of really cool stuff in that one. And then we're going to have, so Monday that'll be public. So Monday, the upcoming Monday, which is the 25th. And then we will have a week after that, we'll have an hour-long documentary on Wolfenstein. And a week after that, we'll have about a 90-minute doc on Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. So rounding off our Machine Games triumvirate, as it were. And I think that's it. I think we're done for the week. You guys doing anything fun this week? Anything going on?
You know, there's a lot of showcases. Gamescom's on right now, but like Danny said, we're not there, but there's stuff happening.
Games Convention.
Yeah, there you go. That's
Check it out. Go out to Cologne. Should we go to Cologne sometime? Cologne.
Sure.
Cologne.
Yeah, let's go next year. That'd be fun. Let's lock it in.
Have some pork knuckle at the fucking Haxon House. Let's go.
Hey,
drink some
Opening Night Live actually is going on right now as we're talking. Yeah, there's stuff being announced. Here, guess which one of these is fake. Guess which one of these is fake. A new
Silksong.
Ron Gilbert game, Europa Universalis 5, or
the last one.
Hold on, or Bubsy 4D. Which one's fake?
I feel like the Bubsy is a red herring, and that's got to be real because it seems the obvious answer for fake.
Yeah,
Sure.
you did a pause before it as well.
Yeah,
I feel
why
like
not?
Ron Gilbert, I think he moved to Australia.
They don't make games in
They
Australia.
don't
is that
make
what you're
games
saying?
there.
Yeah, he's not allowed anymore. No, they go the other way. Yeah. I'm gonna go Bubsy 4D is the bullshit.
Is the bullshit? Okay, Jenna, what do you think?
Yeah.
I think it's the Europa, the middle one.
Yeah, well, they're all real. There's a new Ron Gilbert game also. Yay.
Bubsy 4D is a very funny name.
Yeah.
I'll give it
It's
that.
pretty good.
Presumably there's some time traveling mechanic in this game. Is that it blinks the time cat, but with Bubsy? Is that
Whoa.
what we're the time sweeper?
Bubsy the Time Cat.
It's beautiful. Great. What's the new Ron Gilbert game?
It's
Is it
called
an
Death
adventure
by
game?
Scrolling. It's a roguelike, vertically scrolling RPG.
Oh,
Okay, down well.
I think
I was going to
knew
say
he
you
was
must have
working
known
on-
about this. If anyone was
think
going to
he-
know.
No, he did a post about it. I think I talked about it on the podcast. He did a post about it. It looks like a fucking Zelda game. It's
does a
like
little bit, yeah.
like an old school Zelda. It's like top down, like, fucking looking, green grass, and then the edges of the thing are yellow. Like he did and I was like, where is he? He's making a roguelike? Okay, so there you
The
go.
core
That's cool.
hallmark of every Zelda game.
Green squares,
Green
yellow on
grass,
the
and
edge.
then the edge of the thing is yellow.
fuck you guys, I'm going home. I'm taking my ball.
No, it was very charming.
Excellent. Good stuff. All right. We'll be back next week with some more video game nonsense. But until then, have a great week and we'll see you on the other side. Bye.
Bye.